Costa Rica means rich coast in Spanish.
Is it true that Columbus was the one who came up with the name?
Your guess is as good as mine. But it is true that Columbus landed his ships near Limon back in the age of exploration. He wrote in his diary that when he landed, the indigenous showered him with gifts of gold. Hence the name. It sounds a little strange to me. There is no way they could find that much gold in Costa Rica.
Columbus originally set sail in search of the legendary land of gold. Maybe he was just nuts about the stuff.
Costa Rica is rich enough without it. Look at the forests and the animals and the peace-loving people. That is what I want to protect.
I know how you feel.
Democracy took root in Costa Rica before anywhere else in Central America. Sure, we had coup and dictators and all, but never a total meltdown. That is, until 26 years ago.
The Civil War. Yeah. I understand you lost your grandparents.
It started with a dispute over alleged fraud in the presidential election. What I do not understand is why friend turned against friend, when they could have talked it out instead.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Even today, some buildings still have bullet holes from the Civil War. A quarter century later, and it is a tragedy we Ticos cannot forget, must not forget. It was the year after the Civil War that the army was constitutionally abolished. A new president was elected this year, President Oteber. He seems to be distancing himself from the United States. He has limited the privileges granted to American banks, lifted the sanctions on Cuba. Our last president was so pro-US, people suspected he was in bed with the CIA.
You think the CIA is doing this because it feels threatened by the president's shift in policy?
It is possible, but would they really bring in such a huge army just because of that?
Part of our job is finding out.
Exactly. Thanks, Snake. Peace.
Peace.
Professor Galvez was a KGB spy? I thought he helped me out of genuine concern for Costa Rica's future.
You didn't know.
How could I? Believe me, Snake. He introduced himself as a peace researcher at the university. He had an office and credentials and everything.
They're masters at creating cover personas. They think of everything. ID papers, jobs, sometimes even families. Don't feel bad you didn't see through it.
But you did?
From the first time we met.
I wish you had told me.
Sorry. I didn't know if it'd be right. You might have gotten mixed up in things you shouldn't.
That is impressive, though. Sizing him up at a single glance.
He reeked.
Reeked?
He had this unmistakable air about him. The air of someone who's been given a mission and will see it through no matter what. Like me. I could just smell it.
That is amazing, Snake.
I'm just kidding. It was his prosthetic hand. Why would a professor from a peace university need a tool for assassination?
To light his cigar.
That coffee you guys brought us is pretty damn good.
Isn't it? Costa Rican coffee is the best. The Central Basin has all the right conditions for growing coffee. It is high in elevation, with steady temperatures and well-drained volcanic soils.
The professor certainly seems attached to it.
The coffee we drank on the boat coming over was awful. It put him in such a terrible mood.
Well, how come I never hear about Costa Rican coffee then?
Because it
It's a
gets
well-kept
bought up
secret.
by wholesalers and mixed with beans from other countries. It is really a shame. Such wonderful beans, and nobody knows they are from Costa Rica.
They should launch an ad campaign or something.
Right. I hope one day people will recognize Costa Rican coffee for what it is.
I'm with you there.
Costa Rica is said to have about 87,000 species of living things. That is about 5% of all the known species in the world.
A tiny place like this? Huh. I'll be damned.
I want to protect that biological diversity. When diversity is lost, The environment weakens.
Diversity is
Just
very
look
important.
At the plantations.
I think I know what you mean. It's like trying to assemble a unit from similar guys. It usually doesn't work out. Throw a few square pegs in there and everything falls into place.
There are so many species here that a lot of them have not even been classified yet. I am hoping I can help do that someday. Kind of like a parataxonomist.
Say that again?
Parataxonomist. Someone who helps a taxonomist.
Oh. Huh. I thought you were gonna say it had something to do with parachutes.
You're weird. My mother was the one who named me Paz. She said it was an expression of her wish that the country stay at peace. It is a pretty common name in Central America. My mother always used to tell me, never make war. Always help keep the peace.
I remember. Your grandparents.
Yes, they died in the Civil War. I think that is why my mother hated war so much.
That's another thing you've got in common with Kaz. His mother named him Peace, too.
See, because Japan also suffered through war. I think I know how Mr. Miller's mother felt.
You like the peace sign, huh?
See,
Doesn't
as
everybody?
a gesture, it connects every peace-loving person.
Peace.
Here, you try it, Snake. Peace.
No thanks. It doesn't suit me.
Too bad for you.
You know, the V in the peace sign comes from the V in victory. When did it start standing for peace?
I am not completely sure, but I guess it came out of the protest movement against the Vietnam War.
Which also starts with a
and
V.
do not turn your hand around when you do it. Especially around British people. It is insulting.
Really? I guess I'll be courteous to my
So,
British audience then.
You live alone now?
No, not alone. I've been living in school dormitories since I started junior high. After my mother died, my relatives took me in, but they were not my real family.
You didn't fit in there.
In a way. My aunts were kind to me and all. But I know how difficult it must have been to suddenly have a child thrust into their lives. When you live with someone, there are no secrets. I could tell my being there was a burden on them.
Sounds like a rough childhood.
I would not say that. I was lucky just to have people take me in. There are huérfanos living out in the streets because their mothers died. It is even worse in countries with frequent civil wars. So, who am I to complain about my childhood?
You're a pretty tough kid, you know.
Not at all. I am not strong at all. I have a favor to ask you, Snake.
Name it.
I want you to give me a job here. I want to help out.
You sure? You just went through a hell of a time. You should probably take it easy until you're settled.
Thank you. But there must be something I can do. You would not want me near a gun. But I am a decent cook.
Now there's a skill we can use.
Put me on the mess hall team. I think I can handle it. Once I get used to it, I will even add in some Costa Rican recipes.
Sounds like a plan.
I think I did end up sticking her and Amanda mostly in the kitchen. Ooh, that jalapeno
Playa del
cheese
Alba
sauce
means
is
Beach of Dawn.
spicy.
The morning sun is so beautiful over the Caribbean.
Beach of Dawn, huh? Perfect place to start a mission.
The clear blue water, the white sand, the swaying palm trees. You cannot get more South American than here. It is paradise on earth.
Yeah, guess I should have packed my Hawaiian shirt.
The coral reefs and mango
that
forests
unlockable?
protect the small fish in the area. Sea turtles come to lay their eggs on these beaches. We are not the only ones who enjoy this place. It is heaven for more than just humans. Bosque del Alba means Forest of Dawn. Naturally, it is situated on the east coast. It is your standard tropical rainforest. Everything you would imagine in a jungle.
No sign of morning sun here.
The foliage is too thick for direct sunlight to hit the floor. I do not know how easy it will be making your way through here.
I'll be fine. This isn't my first trip to a jungle.
True.
The mercenary supply base is situated on elevated ground by the coast. I heard them call it Puerto del Alba, Port of Dawn. They have perfect visibility of the area from up there. We did our best to sneak in undetected, but one of the guards spotted us and we...
What is it?
I'm sorry. You'll have to ask Professor Galvez the rest.
It's okay. You've been through a lot.
I am sorry. I just cannot.
You did great, Paz. I won't let your efforts go wasted.
Since it was founded, my country has not once been able to choose its own path. First Spain, then America. Over 100 years of this.
I know.
In the 19th century, an American mercenary named William Walker seized power in Nicaragua.
I'd heard he exploited rivalries between the political parties.
Even after we expelled him, the Americans sent in their Marines under the pretext of quelling political unrest.
And the real reason?
To intimidate the government and thwart the construction of the Nicaragua Canal.
I thought the U.S. already has the rights to build a canal in Nicaragua.
They never intended to build a canal there. They'd already started digging in Panama. A canal in Nicaragua would break up the Panama Canal's monopoly. Reason enough for America to stick its nose into our affairs.
They snagged the rights so nobody else could build there.
It was General Sandino who finally stood up to los Yankees. General Sandino waged a guerrilla war against the Marines, at last driving them out. He was a true hero, and to us Sandinistas, like a father. But when they pulled out, the Americans left us something to remember them by.
The National Guard.
Yes, La Guardia. In name, a peacekeeping force, but in reality, Commander Somoza's personal army, answering to no one else. Unable to stay silent, General Sandino went to protest and was assassinated by Somoza as he made his way home. It was then that Somoza and Los Sapos began to eat our country alive from the inside.
Excuse me.
It has been 40 years since the Somoza family became the rulers of Nicaragua. With La Guardia at their command, no one can challenge them.
You came here on the run from the National Guard, right?
See, they took everything. Our land, our homes, our jobs.
Now belong to Somoza.
See, the law too. He's even got the judges in his pocket. You defy him, you face death. Everyone bows and scrapes before La Guardia. Even then you might get a beating if they are in a bad mood.
And you're trying to change things.
That's not all. These Somozas have used their power to line their pockets. They confiscate people's land and hand it to members of the Somoza family. By now, close to half the farmland in Nicaragua is theirs. We were powerless until... You remember the earthquake 2 years ago?
Yeah, I heard the capital was hit pretty hard.
We lost Managua, our capital city. People sent aid from all around the world. Tears of sorrow turned to tears of joy. Yet almost all of it was embezzled by the Somozas. They sold out those who'd lost everything for money. They feasted on our country's suffering. Public resentment is at the boiling point. The Somozas' days are numbered. We will see to it. The first Somoza was originally no more than the commander of La Guardia. Ordinarily, a man of his station could never hope to become president. But the president at the time had no power to back him. The only one with the strength to oppose him was General Sandino. No, better to say the general was the only one who dared oppose him. There was nothing special about him. Above all, it takes a strong will to see justice done. That is what he taught us.
It's also what motivated Somoza to have him killed.
Yes, the rest was easy. He got rid of the president, taking office in a sham election. And once he had the power, he never gave it up.
Talk about heavy-handed.
He had the Americans backing him, that's why. They didn't want to hand over power to a rebellious general.
Even so, it's hard to believe Washington would give its blessing to a guy like that.
The American president at the time put it this way. Somoza may be a son of a bitch, but he's our son of a bitch. In other words, better a dog or Los Sapos than an anti-US regime. The Managua earthquake struck 2 years ago, the day before Christmas Eve. Giant cracks opened up in the streets. Sleeping children were crushed in collapsing houses. No chance to escape. No visit from Santa Claus. Thanks to Somoza, the old houses could not even get rebuilt. It was a nightmare.
I heard the epicenter was right in the middle of the city.
Even today, it's too dangerous to build on top of the fault line. The city center is still in ruins.
And to make things worse, Somoza stole the recovery money.
We must not fail. We owe it to those who lost their lives. We will defeat Somoza. We are Sandinistas, the heirs of General Sandino's will.
Sandino, the father of modern guerrilla warfare.
To you, maybe. To us, he's more like a real father.
That why you named yourselves after him?
Of course. La Frente Sandinista de Liberación Nacional. The Sandinista National Liberation Front is named in his honor. We share the general's goal, to take back our country's freedom. In his day, from America. In ours, from the despot Somoza.
Times have changed, but the song remains the same.
Patria libre o morir. That is our slogan. El Che used to say the same thing, you know.
Patria o muerte, the slogan of the Cuban Revolution. So, you're fighting for a socialist revolution too, then?
No, it's not about ideology. We only want to live normal lives. We are sick of living in a country where you can be beaten for walking down the street, where you never know if your neighbor is snitching on you. Our goal is to give back the country to its people.
Yeah, the Cuban Revolution started out like that too.
We are few in number, but we will win. Victoria o muerte. For a revolutionary, there is no other fate. Augusto Cesar Sandino, general and hero of Nicaragua. 50 years ago, conflict broke out between the political parties of Nicaragua. The U.S. Marines intervened in the name of restoring order. The only one who refused to listen to their call for reconciliation was General Sandino.
Huh. One man against the Marines. That takes guts.
The general wasn't a professional soldier. Neither were his compadres. And they certainly could not match the Marines' equipment. But he used the land to his advantage, lurking in the fields and hills of Nicaragua, and using surprise attacks to harass the Marines.
I know. I've read plenty of textbooks on guerrilla warfare.
In the end, he drove them out. He was truly a role model for us.
Yeah, but that was the 30s. Didn't the Depression have something to do with it? It takes cash to wage war.
Perhaps. But there is no denying what the general accomplished. The people hailed him as the General de Hombres Libres, the general of free men. They loved him. And then, he was assassinated by Anastasio Somoza Garcia, commander of La Guardia.
The father of the current Somoza.
Somoza had the Americans' backing. That is the way things were. The general may be dead, and the times may have changed, but his will lives on inside each of us. We are the sons and daughters of General Sandino.
Hey, how's the watermelon business these days?
Not bad. I hear the compas back home are hanging in there too.
Good to hear.
You know our nickname. I'm impressed. No wonder they call you boss.
You used to hide your weapons in hollowed-out watermelons, smuggle them right past the National Guard. You even transported pineapple grenades that way. The name caught on among sympathizers in the region and...
What are you talking about? They call us watermelon sellers because the general's name sounds like the word for watermelon. Sandia.
Really?
Si.
Damn it, Kaz. revolution to bring peace to your country, huh? No matter how much we fight, peace never gets any closer, does it?
I do not like it, but it is the
No,
only
that
way.
attitude it
If
won't.
we do not fight back, they'll just keep exploiting us. You want proof? Look at our country's history. Revolution is a means, and not an end. I know. When the revolution is victorious, I want my country to be at peace. But to bring peace, we have to first eliminate that traitorous scum.
It's an old saying. We make war that we may live in peace.
Who said it?
The Punisher.
Aristotle.
You know your history.
Frank
Had
Castle.
a good teacher.
It has always been like this. People making the same mistakes over and over. And still, all we can do is fight.
I hear you. If you've got a goal, you've got to keep moving forward. I noticed you called Che Guevara El Che.
Not just us. Everyone in these parts does. Che was always his nickname. It does not feel right to call him by his last name. I was shocked the first time I saw you. You look so much like him.
I look like El Che, huh?
Sort of. Not in the face. It's more
Oh,
the way you
okay.
carry yourself.
I guess Che's a hero to the Sandinistas, too.
Okay.
Of course. The FSLN was formed in the spirit of the ideologies championed by El Che and Fidel.
Fidel Castro. So, you're trying to bring the Cuban Revolution to Nicaragua.
Well, we were. But Cuba isn't what it once was. Not since El Che left. El Che was a true revolutionary. He fought and died for the people. He worked harder than anybody, and he was a righteous man. Even as a minister of Cuba, he gave up his weekends to work on the farms and public works. As a volunteer, no less.
Yeah, I've heard the stories. But when you think about it, wasn't it that obsession that did him in?
How do you mean?
We can't all be Supermen. He thought the ideals he applied in Cuba would work in Bolivia, but he failed to win converts and the support of the peasants, and it cost him his life.
Maybe you are right. But at least he did not steal from those peasants, no matter how hard things got.
Yeah, I can sympathize with that. There's plenty of guerrillas out there who'd rob their own people to feed their revolutions.
If we had a comandante like him, the Sandinistas would find the will to fight.
You called that giant chopper an hombre nuevo.
See, it means new man.
New man.
There was nobody piloting that thing. It must be controlled by machine.
Yeah, it seems that way. No human being could pull off those crazy maneuvers.
But it's not crazy. It's smart. It sings, too.
Oh yeah, that's
When
right.
we first saw it, one of your men said, "Pilot must be an hombre nuevo."
Me? I do not like the name.
Why?
Hombre Nuevo was what El Che was striving to become. What all of us who joined the Sandinistas strive to become. That's why. An Hombre Nuevo is one who finds joy in virtue and voluntary labor. It makes me furious to see that name given to such a monster.
I'll bet. Chico called that helicopter El Colibri.
Our name for the hummingbird. You saw how that chopper moved, how it hovered in midair like a hummingbird?
A hell of a lot bigger than a bird, though.
True, but better than Hombre Nuevo, don't you think? When you get kidnapped by El Colibri, it's all over. They take you to a prison camp and torture you until you snitch on your compas.
That's what took Chico.
They have no mercy. Once you talk, they toss you out like trash. I knew this, and still I could not save Chico. If he cannot be saved, I will do what must be done.
Don't write him off like that. Sometimes you have to survive, even if it means sacrificing your honor. I'll get him back. I promise.
And we did.
Snake, I need your opinion. How strong are the enemy's mercenaries?
They're well trained. They've got more than enough men. Seasoned, too. A lot of them probably saw action in Vietnam. They're a tough bunch. And armed to the teeth. I don't think I've ever seen a mercenary force field that many tanks and attack choppers.
It shows how much cash they have to throw around. And connections. How did they get access to such weapons?
How do you think? They're backed by the one and only CIA.
And here we are. Half of us farmers, and the other half students. Children even. And weapons. We're so short on guns we have to steal them from the enemy. As much as I hate to say it, we're always going to be on the defensive.
I know.
And mi viejo. Without him,
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if we can win. Can we, Snake?
Stop feeling sorry for yourself.
But
Amanda,
what?
listen to me. Don't ever let your men hear you talk like that. You're their leader, and a leader has to stand tall, even when times get tough, when it feels like the fear and uncertainty could crush you. You're the one your comrades look to for reassurance. That's what a leader is. Don't forget it.
Snake.
If you're looking for comfort, go find a church. That's all I've got to say.
You are right. I am sorry.
Tough
I need to
love.
pull myself together.
You'll be fine. I know you have it in you.
Thank you, Snake. The land in our country belongs to us, and yet it does not belong to us.
How so?
Along the coast, it is all banana groves, and in the mountains, it is coffee. I guess in that way, it is not so different from here.
Plantations.
Almost all the bananas and coffee are sold as exports. The landlords keep the money for themselves, leaving precious little to the farmers. Worse, the biggest landowners in the country are Somoza and his family.
But it does bring in foreign currency.
I doubt even that, at least for bananas. The plantations are owned by American corporations. The bananas are processed in factories on the plantations and exported to America from private ports. It's like having little American enclaves along the coast of Nicaragua.
But the farmers have no choice but to go work there.
Es ridículo. The people have to take their land back. It is one of the things we are fighting for.
Tell me, when exactly did you realize your dad was working with the KGB?
About 6 months ago. Up until then, we only had beans to eat. And then suddenly, we started to get eggs and flour. Our bullet shortage simply disappeared.
How'd he get the cocaine?
Ask the KGB. All we did here was process it. Coca plants grow here too.
The CIA
But to
agent
my
that
knowledge,
supplied to
almost
him
all of the
was
stuff we used came
Tyrone
from Colombia and
Biggums,
Bolivia.
It's
the Dave
processed in a
Chappelle
factory
character.
and then shipped to ports on the Caribbean Sea. Where does it go after that?
I never thought about it. I mean, I did not want to think about it.
The biggest cocaine consumer in the world is the United States. I'm guessing they smuggle it in on vessels disguised as fishing
It was
boats.
the 70s.
Wait, La CIA uses that route too. Are you telling me they're
I
selling
mean, the
cocaine to their
Cannon
own
film
country?
Looks that way.
company
Those
probably
bastards
used
are
about
turning their
half
own
of it.
children into junkies? Are they insane?
No, just afraid. Afraid of a communist Central America.
La CIA calls their new toy Peace Walker, eh?
Yeah. So,
It is an insult to us Nicos.
because of the guy you were talking about, Walker.
See, although it happened over 100 years ago. Back then, the political parties in Nicaragua were at each other's throats. The Nicaraguan Democratic Party hired an American mercenary to help counter their enemies, the Conservative Party.
And that was Walker.
After taking care of the conservatives, Walker decided to seize power in Nicaragua for himself, eventually making himself president.
So once I get that
The Democratic
achievement,
Party gave him an inch.
assuming there is
and he
one,
took
I
the whole
guess.
country.
But it
so I'll
did
be
not
able
end
to see
there.
it.
Not only did he make English an official language, he tried to reintroduce slavery. Walker's goal was to build a Caribbean empire centered on the American South.
Caribbean Empire. Huh. Sounds kind of like what Coleman is trying to pull off.
The gringos are always like that. They invent some convenient excuse to trample all over foreign countries like they own the place. Peace Walker, ha.
What happened to Walker in the end?
A united Central American army led by Costa Rica kicked his ass and sent him running back to America.
And why don't we do the same? I, for one, don't intend to let Coleman get his way.
Good idea. I'm glad we have you, boss.
Amanda, when did you join up with the Sandinistas?
About a year ago, when I went into the mountains with mi viejo and his group.
I thought your dad was with the FSLN from the start.
No, he fought alongside General Sandino, but after that, he retired for a while. He found a job, got a wife and a house, and raised us kids. Then one day, some Sandinista students came by.
And he felt the old fire in his belly.
Something like that. All he did was help them escape from La Guardia, though. But then La Guardia showed up.
Uh-oh.
They broke into our house and began pushing him around, shouting questions.
I'm guessing he kept his mouth shut.
No matter how hard they hit him. Our house was trashed. After that, he was on their list. They harassed him day and night. It was only then that he gave himself over to the Sandinistas. He kept it hidden from us at first, so we would not get hurt.
He sounds like a good father.
He was. But my mother got fed up with it. She left us. I don't blame her.
Why didn't you go with her?
It was a hard decision for sure. But like my father, I could not let Somoza get away with his crimes. But most of all,
Chico.
he is too much like his papa. One way or the other, he was going to stay. And I could not leave him behind. Soon enough, La Guardia drove us out, and we found ourselves in the mountains. It just kind of happened.
Well, for an accidental revolutionary, you sure put up a hell of a fight.
The mountains make men into warriors. The training is harsh, but it brings us that much closer to being hombres nuevos.
Chico couldn't ask for a better sister. I can see why they picked you to be Comandante.
When I was little, I came down with malaria. Unlucky for me, it was the bad kind. I was in a daze
There's a
the whole
good kind?
time. And at one point they said I was not going to make it.
Malarial encephalopathy. I hear it's pretty common in tropical malaria cases.
Even today, my memory sometimes gets a little fuzzy. Since then, I've had this fear of mosquitoes. When I hear them buzzing nearby, I get jumpy.
Ah, that explains the chain smoking.
See, I thought it might help keep the mosquitoes away, just a little. Maybe it is all in my head. You're the same way, right?
Oh, I will say this. I prefer a cigar over mosquitoes.
Me too.
I've got to hand it to you. Takes guts to conquer your fear like that and live a guerrilla's life in the wild.
It is nothing. El Che did not let asthma stop him from leading the revolution. Compared to him, I am no hero.
I'm sorry to hear about your dad.
Thank you for saying that. Mi viejo was the leader of the Frente. He was the last of the generation that knew General Sandino. He saw the general's exploits firsthand as a boy. He would tell us stories about it all the time and about how the general was assassinated.
Did you know he was getting money from the KGB?
I had some idea, but I did not have the courage to confront him about it. I know it was a painful decision for him to make.
I can imagine.
Yes, my father was a good man. I loved him as a daughter, and his soldiers believed in him. Thanks to him, La Frente held together even in the worst of times. I don't know if I can ever fill his shoes.
Chico's 12, right?
Right.
Isn't he a little short for his age?
Malnourishment. Food is hard to come by when you're running around in the jungle.
So he kind of reminds me of
got quite
Sean
an appetite.
Astin.
I know. I didn't want him to come in the first place, but there was no one to take him in. I had no choice but to look after him.
Don't be so hard on yourself. Sometimes it's better for a kid to be with his family than far away in a safe place.
Thank you.
Promise me this, though. When your fight is over, make sure he gets a proper education. Give him a chance to be something other than a guerrilla. It's not too late to teach him something other than fighting.
Okay, I promise. You know what book Chico really likes? The World Encyclopedia of Mysterious Creatures.
Could have guessed
The
that one.
Loch Ness Monster, the Yeti.
UMAs. Yeah, I know.
He's still so much like a boy. I worry about him.
He'll be fine. I know plenty of grown men who still go crazy over UMAs.
Are you serious?
Maybe he could get a job working on Monster Quest.
You have taken such good care of me since you saved me from El Colibri. I want to return the favor.
Yeah.
Just wait until you're healed up. Then we'll talk.
I appreciate that, but you need all the help you can get. It might take a while for me to heal completely, but I'll be fine once I'm on my feet. Put me in a combat unit. I'll pull my weight.
I wouldn't expect any less from a Sandinista Comandante.
Enough flattery. But seriously, it does not feel right for me to be sitting here while my compas are out risking their lives.
One thing's for sure. Having you out in the field would be a big boost to Sandinista morale.
Of course, our ultimate goal is still the overthrow of Somoza. But until we get ourselves back in order, we will follow your lead, wherever it takes us.
Glad to have you on board. Amanda, you getting used to Mother Base?
Yes, it is heaven compared to living in the mountains. We are no longer constantly on the run from La Guardia or
You
mercenaries.
could call it a
Some of the
outer
new guys
heaven.
we recruited used to be mercenaries.
We are getting along. It was difficult at first, but once you talk to them, you realize we've got plenty in common.
I see. Good to hear.
We may be enemies, but we are all still human beings. La CIA's soldiers, La Guardia. The same goes for the people of America.
What's gotten into you?
Mi viejo got involved with drugs in order to scrape together money for La Revolucion. He did whatever the KGB said, all for Nicaragua, or so he told himself. But I realize now, in the end, all he did was help poison young people of America.
Yeah.
I have made up my mind. Even when I leave Mother Base and return to La Revolucion, I will never turn to drugs, nor will I look to the KGB for help. If we topple Somoza using the KGB and drug money, we will lose the people's hearts.
So, you're choosing a different path from your father.
I still respect him, but I will not do things the way he did.
Well, I'm sure Chico will be glad to hear that.
Chico is a grown soldier now. I could not face him otherwise.
Well said, Amanda. Those are the words of a true Comandante.
Stop. I was inspired by the greatest comandante I have ever known. Boss.
I'll be right back.
Snake, is it true you took a picture of El Colibri?
Yep. Got it right here.
Whoa! It's like an actual UFO! I knew it! Los Yankees are working with the aliens!
I know it kind of looks that way, but
Hey, Snake, can you make me a copy of that?
I don't see why not. What for?
People pay good money for this stuff. We can use it to raise money for MSF.
Sure, kid. You go out and get us a good price for it.
You don't believe me, do you? I'll get the money. You'll see.
Always love it when I answer the phone and there's nobody there.
Snake, legend has it, a place called Isla del Monstruo is near Costa Rica.
Isla del Monstruo.
It was discovered in the 18th century by Caribbean pirates sailing over to the Pacific. And the island is Treasure Island? It's based on one near Costa Rica, too.
Treasure Island. I remember reading that.
You've read it, too? Ah, that makes things easier. In Nicaragua, we too have a story about a group of pirates that encountered a flying monster out at sea. Some even say they landed on this monster island, though we
I'm
still
telling you,
don't
one
know
of these Metal
exactly
Gear
where it is.
games has got to
That's
have
the reason
actual
I've always wanted to
aliens
come
in
to
it.
Costa Rica.
Ha! I see.
Ooh, I heard another story about a talking cat that lives somewhere in Costa Rica. They say it'll take you to this place.
Interesting stuff.
Want to know more about the island?
Maybe later. If I'm headed that way, you can fill me in.
Okay, just let me know. Amanda's so bossy. It's always follow me or stay here. The other day she told me, chew your gallo pinto before you swallow. Can you believe it?
Knowing your sister? Yeah, I can.
The enemy could strike at any time. I can't sit around taking my sweet time eating. I'm a Sandinista, just like the others. I don't need some woman telling me what to do.
Some woman? She's your sister, and she's doing the best she can to fill your father's shoes.
I know, but lately she hasn't been doing so good. I should be strong for her.
Now you're talking.
Some woman.
Sorry to hear about your dad.
Don't be. He is a guerrilla warrior. We pledge our lives to our country and its people. I'm ready to die too if I have to.
You sure?
You better believe it. Like mi viejo used to say. Patria o muerte.
Che said it first.
My dad used to tell us all kinds of stories. About General Sandino and his fight against La Guardia. About my mom before she left us.
You didn't want to go with her.
It's not like that. La Revolucion comes first, that's all.
You must wish you could see her, though.
I don't know. But I know I'll see her again when this is all over. Somehow, I just know it. When I do, me and my mom and Papa are all going to live together again. At least that's what I thought.
Oh, damn.
Now,
Hang in there, Chico. Your sister needs you.
okay. Have you ever heard, shoot, coward? You're only going to kill a man.
Che's last words. He'd been captured in Bolivia and said it to the soldiers just as they were about to execute him.
El Che. He was something, wasn't he? Coming up with a line like that knowing he was about to die.
After the Cuban Revolution, Che gave up his position in the new government to aid in revolutions in other countries. He knew he could die at any time, and he was ready for it.
Me? I couldn't even take a little torture.
But you've been reborn as an hombre nuevo. Right, Chico?
Right.
You know, I've thought about what my last words might be. Of course, I think, hopefully I got another 30 to 40 years to think about it. I think my last words might be, you know, I'll be right back. I think that'd be a good one.
Don't you ever get lonely living away from your mom?
Not really.
But
My compas are
what would
my
my
family
last
now.
meal be?
A lot of them are from the same village as me.
So you had plenty of people to take care of you.
Take care of me.
Man.
I'm a warrior, like any other Sandinista. We look out for each other. That is how it works.
Sorry. Guess I misspoke.
Now we're scattered because of that colibri. Wonder where everybody went. Hey, Snake. If you see any Frente prisoners, please, you gotta get them out, okay? Those guys are solid, every one. You could use them in MSF.
My last meal. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough decision.
Hey, Snake. Are there any jobs for me here at Mother Base? I can do anything.
You don't have to work, you know.
Don't treat me like a kid. I'm a man now.
Okay, then. What are you good at?
Let me think. Everything. Put me on any team. I can pull my own weight.
Well, you are young. You'll probably be a fast learner. I'll think of something.
Anything you need, boss. You'll see. I can fight as good as anybody.
Hey, what's with all this sighing? You're not your usual self.
Oh, Snake.
Something on your mind?
Huh? No, not really. I guess. Hey, Snake. Girls are funny, you know?
True.
You can never tell what they're thinking. They're always doing their own thing. Maybe they really are different from us men.
What's this about now? Chico, do you have a crush on somebody?
No, it's not that. I just.
What? Go ahead, you can talk to me.
Whenever I talk to Paz, my heart starts pounding and everything I say comes out wrong.
Paz? I guess she is pretty close to your age.
That ever happened to you, Snake?
Supposedly.
Well, sure. Happens to everybody.
Well, how do I talk to her?
That is a tough one.
I mean,
why don't you try, talking to her like you
all Eva had to do is pull out her boobs and
everybody else?
No, it doesn't work.
Naked Snake
I freeze
couldn't
up every time
talk
I'm
at
around
all.
her. Our eyes meet and my face starts burning for some reason.
It's like living on the battlefield. You just have to get used to it. You're nervous at first, but the more you're out there, the more natural it feels. Get your courage up and go talk to her more often.
Oh, okay. Man, girls are more full of mysteries than UMAs.
Oh, you
Amen,
got
brother.
that right.
I don't think my fiance is watching, so I can make comments like that and not get in trouble. I remember my first crush, well, because she ended up being my first girlfriend too, and you know, I knew her from elementary school all the way through high school, and we dated the last 2 years of middle school and the first year of high school, and I remember, I don't know exactly, like, I think she was riding along for like a group thing or whatever, and my mom was nice enough to, you know, drop everybody off, and she was the last one, and to some extent my mom was like, well, why don't you walk this girl, I'm not gonna say her full name like I almost just did, why don't you walk the girl to her door? And I did. And I can remember my mom being like, you can't, when you talk to girls, you can't just look at your shoes. Because that's what I did. And I mean, I was probably, 10 maybe? And all I did while talking to her was look at my shoes. Because I couldn't, I was terrible at eye contact at that time too. I was a very shy kid, especially around girls. And it's like that really stuck with me, that that making eye contact with people is very important. But so luckily I was able to build up that skill by the time, I became a young adult and dated more seriously. Like, I mean, while it's like she was my first girlfriend, it's like it wasn't, it was a good first experience, but I mean, I didn't know what dating really meant. Like, I mean, I did the best I could at, middle school to early high school level, and I thought by the time I got off to college that I had it figured out, but I really didn't figure that sort of stuff out till my mid-20s, and I think in a way everybody still works stuff out.
Chico, I heard you saw Paz trying to sabotage Zeke before she activated.
I should have stopped her. If only I hadn't run away. I could have captured her before she got inside. If I'd done that, she'd still be here.
She was carrying a gun. Probably trained to use it too. Don't blame yourself. You couldn't have stopped her anyway. You were unarmed.
Could have at least talked to her. If I'd promised not to tell anyone, Paz wouldn't have gone and done what she did. It's just I was so shocked. I panicked. Ran away.
Chico, when you saw Paz, she was trying to sabotage it, right?
Huh? Well, yeah.
And right after that, she took control of it, tried to make me surrender. Something doesn't add up. Why would she sabotage Zeke when she was about to use it against me?
What?
Her actions were inconsistent. Even for a spy. If she wanted to destroy Zeke, she could have done it and run away. But if her goal was to steal Zeke, she'd have no motive to sabotage it.
I don't know.
Maybe
That is
your
weird.
seeing her caused her to change her plan. I don't get it.
I didn't even think about that. Why would you sabotage a weapon you're about to use? Oh boy.
But you know, there's something I've never been able to figure out. Is the Cold War really a war, or is it really peace?
Doc, what do you...
People called it a Cold War, but I disagreed. Sure, nuclear stockpiles are increasing, threats are multiplying. The US and the Soviet Union have enough power to destroy the human race 100 times over. But nobody's actually being killed. Small-scale conflicts and proxy wars, maybe, but nuclear deterrence has averted another world war. The world's far more peaceful today than it was before, and the breakthroughs we've made in space exploration, thanks to Cold War competition? Fantastic, don't you think?
No. We didn't need to rush into space like that. Going into space may have been mankind's dream, but good people were sacrificed in the scramble.
True.
Maybe so. NASA's definitely got some skeletons in its closet.
Same goes for the nuclear arms race. Atomic testing has killed civilians and exposed thousands to radiation.
Believe me, I know. And now, this. What peace was I trying to protect anyway? The more I think about it, the less I understand.
It is kind of messed up to think about that, you know, since more nuclear powers have emerged in the world, that there's been, I mean, there's obviously been really terrible conflict, but, you know, numbers wise, it's not been to the extent of where it was in World War II when some countries were willing to die to the last man. But it's so sad that we can't rely on our leaders to just talk things out and work out like trade agreements or something like that, you know. And, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson put this in a good way that, you know, something that like that might be achieved if aliens ever visit us. Like, it's a crazy thing to think about, but, you know, once a big threat or wake up call like that would show up, you know, we wouldn't be thought of as separate countries. Instead, the entire planet would be one country. But it's like, it should be that way anyway. Like, it's like I just wish that, like, you know, there are people that believe differently than me that I consider good friends. It's like I just find the idea of, oh, well, this person worships a sun god, but this other person worships the moon god, or I'm paraphrasing obviously, but that's what a lot of wars are fought over, is ideals and religion, and it's a shame that it's like, you know, it's like if my neighbor, you know, prays to the sun or whatever it might be, or doesn't pray at all, I don't care. It's like, you know, as long as they're not hurting anybody.
Let's speak in hypotheticals for a minute. Say you wanted to make a clone of yourself.
A clone? Paramedic had the same idea. It's science fiction.
I'm just hypothesizing
Maybe
here.
there would be 3 of them.
Okay, not a clone then. You have any kids?
Nope.
Wife?
I've never been tied down.
Okay then. So, we're still talking hypotheticals. Say you had a son who'd inherited your genes.
Yes.
Someone with
or
the
3 of
same
them.
combat abilities as you. Would
Or
you
th-
challenge him to a fight?
Not to sound cocky, but I wouldn't want to do that. No telling who'd survive.
I'll bet. You picked up on the Pupa 5000's combat patterns in seconds.
Only with your advice, Doc.
Well, if anybody could learn to do it just by listening, it'd be easy. But you're a born soldier. Yeah, you must have been born with genes geared for combat. Soldier genes, if you will.
Genes geared for combat. I don't care how advanced their research is. You can't blame genes
We're getting
for everything.
into
Blame
Metal
genes?
Gear Solid stuff.
You think it's funny?
What?
You think genes have nothing to do with this body I was born with?
I don't know.
Look, that fear of facing someone of equal ability in combat, imagine that on a strategic scale. That's the concept of nuclear deterrence. The idea is, when all sides are armed with the destructive power of nuclear weapons, they'll avoid nuclear war in order to prevent mutual annihilation.
Doesn't sound all that sophisticated to me.
There's a problem with
Exactly.
that, though,
It's
and I'll
so
get into
simple
that once
in
he's
principle.
done.
But because it's so simple, whether or not it works properly depends on the people involved. In that sense, what we're looking at now is a malfunction in deterrence theory.
Coldman.
You got it. Please, Snake, don't let deterrence die.
So what happens when you come up against an enemy that gets nuclear capability that doesn't care about dying? That their belief is that, well, I'll be with my God and my enemies will be in hell. What do you do? What happens to deterrence then? So it's interesting that that sort of thing hasn't been brought up. Because, like, that's, you know, there are people that are willing to die for their cause and willing to let their people die for the cause as well, because they're like, well, their belief is they'll be in heaven with their God and their enemies will be burning in hell. It's like, what happens to deterrence when that happens? What do you
Nuclear
do then?
deterrence means preventing the use of nuclear weapons in conflicts between states. But what about other situations?
Like what?
Terrorism has been on the rise in recent years, from separatist movements to far-left extremists. What would happen if nuclear weapons fell into terrorists' hands? Without a state, that is, without territory of their own, the chances of having nukes used against them are slim. They have no reason to fear a nuclear strike. Conversely, they have no reason to hesitate to use nukes against their adversaries.
Kind of similar to what I
Got a
was just
point.
saying.
All the ICBMs and strategic bombers in the world amount to nothing against a terrorist group.
Right. Of course, this is all still hypothetical. Countries keep their nukes under tight watch. There's no immediate danger of terrorists getting their hands on them. But the day may come when the proposition of nuclear terrorism makes nuclear deterrence theory a dead letter.
Nuclear terrorism. Interesting. I gotta say, I'm surprised you helped us arm Metal Gear with nukes.
What of it?
Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful and all, but you sure about this? They may be for MSF self-defense, but they're still nukes. It's essentially the same thing as Peace Walker, which you despised.
See, that's exactly it.
What is?
You don't hide your motives. You tell the truth. That's what makes you different from those CIA bastards. They lay on the charm, win you over. And then, when things get hairy, they turn their backs on you.
I'm just telling it like it is.
Which is why I get the feeling that you wouldn't be stupid enough to use them. Okay, I'll come out and say it. I trust you.
You give me too much credit.
You think so? Besides, there's more uses for bipedal locomotion technology than weapons. We make it small enough, and it could have applications in robotics and prosthetic limbs.
True.
Maybe one day I'll even be able to walk.
Nice thought.
I want to stand on my own feet, be master of my own fate.
The captain
and
of my
I'll
own
use your
ship.
strength to help me do it. If you don't mind, of course.
Nah, it's a fair enough deal.
Thanks. People can change, I know. But I trust you, Snake. I trust you to be the guy I know now. Snake! You have to stop Peace Walker from launching that nuke.
This is
Calm
definitely an old
down.
one.
What do I need to do?
To tell you the truth, I don't really know. The mammal pod has probably enhanced both its thought patterns and mobility. The S-mines, rockets, flamethrowers, they're all the same, but I don't know what else to say. You'll just have to stay sharp and watch for how it behaves before each of the attacks.
I'll give it a shot. There's no time for anything else.
Sorry I can't be more helpful. You can do it, Snake. Snake, how much do you know about the U.S. Homeland Air Defense Network?
I don't know much about what goes on up in the sky. What I do know is that NORAD tracks Santa Claus on its radar.
Nice one. I didn't know you were a comedian, too.
Huh? No, I'm serious. It's true, NORAD tracks this... Listen to me. Every December they set up a hotline and...
There's a YouTube
Okay,
channel that
I
that
get
tracks
it.
Santa Claus.
He's real, I tell ya. He used to bring me presents and...
Okay. It's true. Here's an old one.
Okay,
So,
Snakey.
I wonder if that's something
As
that's-
all good little boys know, keeping tabs on Santa Claus is a very important job for NORAD. But they also have another mission. The one they were
So I
created
wonder if
for. And the
there
system
must have
they
been
set
like
up for
TV
that has
channels
been
that would
hijacked by
air
Coldman.
that,
You mean Peace
or
Walker's fake
radio
data transmission?
channels that
NORAD's
would say
early
where Santa
warning
Claus
system
is
is
at.
composed of DSP
Ho,
satellite-mounted
ho.
infrared sensors and an array of surveillance radar stations across North America. The network sends out warnings to NORAD at Cheyenne Mountain, where the data undergoes human evaluation. Peace Walker, on the other hand, has to make its retaliation decisions autonomously. So it's set up to automatically receive the same data as NORAD through covert channels. Those channels were also used on the test platform to telemeter the AI's decision-making. Peace Walker reversed the system to transmit a fake warning about incoming nuclear missiles outside the usual exercise schedule. I mean, the system could have used better safeguarding. Nobody's going to argue with that. But cracking the AI? That seemed unimaginable. And you can see what happened.
Hey, Doc, what was that you were smoking in the lab? It looked like a cigarette, but it wasn't lit.
Oh, it's an electronic cigarette. I designed it myself. Pretty neat, huh?
Electronic cigarette.
Yup, a liquid in the filter that turns into vapor, and you inhale the microparticles.
So that was vapor.
Sci-fi.
I'd actually rather be smoking normal cigarettes, but not in that room. The smoke would wreck the precision equipment in there, ruin all its wiring. But the
Next, you
vapor
tell
is
me there's
just
going to be a
steam.
pin
It doesn't
that you
contain
can
tar
smoke
or
a
anything
vape
like
out
that.
of.
So I can smoke it in the lab with no worries.
Nice.
Want to try one?
Nah, I'll stick with cigars.
Yeah, but
I don't like imitations. The real thing's always better.
okay. But you know, sooner or later, smoking's gonna become very unfashionable across the world. It hurts you and those around you. Electronic cigarettes might not seem so bad then.
Yeah, when that happens, I'll think about it. You said your dad was involved in the Manhattan Project, right?
Yeah?
And you think that's why you can't walk?
I don't know. Actually, probably not. So far, nobody's found evidence that exposure to radiation in parents causes genetic defects in children, except for those exposed in the womb. Epidemiologically speaking, anyway.
That's the conclusion of the Atomic Bomb Casualty Commission.
Right. The ABCC commenced its study immediately after the war, and it's still ongoing.
Even now, 30 years later.
The effects of radiation exposure last a long time. I'm guessing it'll be another 10 years before we get a real verdict on whether it affects genes. Granted, it's the most massive study anybody's ever done. But that's really all it is, a study. The ABCC brought in bomb victims and ran tests on them, but they didn't treat them.
Really? Them too, huh?
At any rate, that's what my father made me believe when I was growing up.
Maybe it was tough for your dad to explain. Ever think of that?
Yeah, maybe. But this is my problem now, Snake. I have to face the nukes head on, whether I like it or not. My creations are being used for the wrong purposes. The onus is on me to stop it somehow. Help me, Snake. Hey, as long as I'm here at Mother Base, why not assign me to the R&D team? You could use a guy like me.
Glad to have you on board. I'm sure Kaz is too.
Once I've got the necessary materials and design specs together, I should be able to start building you that bipedal weapon platform. Nothing would make me happier than for my research to help put a stop to Peace Walker.
Nope.
So this stuff.
You ever see the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Can't say I have.
Fantastic flick. The outer space special effects are incredible enough, but the depiction of AI is what really stands out.
There's an AI.
Yeah, a spacecraft pilot AI called HAL. It plays a major role in the story. Dr. Strangelove loves it too.
Hal, that's a good
Did I
name.
ever tell you about the time we first met up in Costa Rica?
No.
You know how she hates men, right? So we hadn't seen each other since NASA, and we just weren't hitting it off. Until we started talking about Hal. And then she started going off. The way she talked about it was so intellectual. The way she analyzed every plot detail, how passionate she was about the AI. It made me fall for her all over again.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's to Hal for bringing her and me closer together. You should ask her about 2001 too. Then you'll understand just how amazing she is.
Amazing, huh?
Hal. Now there's a good name.
Mm-hmm.
The pupa increases its mobility by using compressed air to hover its rear section. It moves by means of its treads and boosters. Those boosters also provide the propulsion needed for high-speed movement.
So if I take out the boosters, it won't be able to charge.
Right. I suppose you could also avoid its attacks by lying down beneath it. The pupa is also equipped with electrical shock units. It uses these devices, they look like lightning rods, to direct discharge.
Guess I should pull the plug on those too.
Good idea. What else? Well, as with all AI machines, you can incapacitate the entire unit by taking out the AI itself. If you can get the hatch open and climb inside, you can pull out the memory boards. Lights out AI. We may be able to use those boards for ourselves. If you can, try and get inside the AI pod and have a crack at it. You won't be able to do that until you've damaged it enough to stop it from moving first.
Got it. Usual tactics first, then. You said you could do a monkey call.
Yes? Want to hear it?
Yeah, I won't be able to get it off my mind until I do.
All right. Here it is then.
It's useful for a bunch of gorillas.
That's pretty good.
I can do others too, like a sheep, a pig.
Yeah? Wow. What about a pig?
Oh boy.
That's uncanny.
Oh, I can do a rabbit as well.
A rabbit? Rabbits make noises?
Certainly, but they are very faint.
True.
So perhaps only someone who has owned one would recognize them.
I see. So, what do they sound like?
Listen very carefully.
Okay. Seriously? Rabbits sound like that?
I assure you they do. Listen again.
Never heard a rabbit do that before.
They do. I swear.
That's the sound they make when they're getting killed. I had a rabbit that I had rescued. He never made any sounds like that because he was safe. But it's like, if ever so faintly, he'd make like these little, like just very little squeaking sounds. Sort of like I guess similar to a mouse is the only thing I could really compare it to.
Hello? Snake? Mon chéri?
You've been drinking, Cecile?
Can't you please do something about this pest?
Who?
Monsieur Miller!
What's he done now?
Wine.
Wine?
He said he thought the soldiers might tire of having beer all the time. So he's brought in some wine instead. And then he gave me a bunch.
Well, that was nice of him.
But the past 2 years have been bad for French wine. Perhaps it is the bad weather we have had. But whatever the case, I told him the last thing you want to be drinking right now is French wine.
Well, California and Chile have good wine too.
But then he goes and stocks the pantry with nothing but French wine from 72. The stuff is a disaster. Then he says, "Come on, Cecile, have a taste of the old country." I had a terrible feeling about it. So I decided just to taste it at first. And then again. And then a few more times.
Took one for the team, huh? But when you do a tasting, don't you usually spit the wine out?
But bottle after bottle, nothing but garbage. Absolute garbage. Not one half-decent bottle in the whole lot. Taste of the old country, he says.
Sorry to hear that.
I cannot believe this. What will we do with all this wine?
The guys aren't too picky when it comes to taste.
Ugh. You sound just like Monsieur Miller.
Huh?
When I complained, he simply said, "As long as it gets the job done." You people are such culinary savages. Allez-vous faire voir. Somebody take me back to Paris, please.
I think you've had a little too much, Cecile.
Oh.
You seem like a very, how do I put this, uninhibited woman.
True.
You think so? I am no different from other Parisian women. Not since May 1968.
May 1968. The general strike that almost brought down the president.
Right. But it was more than just a strike. It started with the student movement at Strasbourg University in '66. They did not want anything from the country, but instead sought reform at the school. That helped ignite a fire in the hearts of scores of dissatisfied young people. And the movement spread all over France. It was more than just opposition to Vietnam and the de Gaulle administration. People also called for free love and the breaking away from other old values.
Make love, not
Looking
war.
back, I am not sure what the main goal really was. But whatever the case, it was more of a young people's movement than a strike or a protest.
So, it was like the hippies or something?
In some ways, perhaps. But we weren't blinded by mysticism, nor did we seek a return to nature.
I see.
Mysticism, that's the way to put
So,
it.
while they wanted to retreat to their closed communes,
We tried to change the world. And in doing so, we learned that when everyone comes together, it can be done.
you had a lot more success. In America, hippies have just become a social problem, while I hear Japan's student movements crashed and burned.
I wonder what was different.
Good question. I'd like to know myself.
Crap, I'm not gonna have time to finish this. At least that guarantees one more Peace Walker stream at least. For this playthrough anyway. So I gotta call my folks. But I'll jump back on at some point to finish up Strange Love's tapes. It's like I figured, I was like, oh, I could get the tapes done in like 30 or 40 minutes, but it's almost an hour and a half. But thanks for tuning in. It's like this is the last piece of the puzzle. You know, the audience spoke that they wanted me to do the tapes, and who am I to disappoint? Take care.
AI stands for artificial intelligence. It refers to a man-made machine possessing an intellect on par with that of a human being.
You
Is
say
that
so.
even possible?
Possible. You've seen it with your own eyes. What the AI weapons are capable of. How Peace Walker carried out the boss's will in the end. No mere machine could ever choose to sacrifice itself like that.
I just can't see how a bunch of circuits and switches could have a will of its own.
It's called the Ghost in the Machine, Snake.
Good
And
movie.
it exists.
Well,
What did you mean
I'm
by
thinking
the
of Ghost in the Shell.
Machine?
Oh, that. It's a term coined by the philosopher Gilbert Ryle. You've heard of Descartes, yes?
I think, therefore I am.
That is the one. Descartes espoused the dualistic theory of mind and body. He believed that our thinking minds exist in a separate dimension from our bodies, which are governed by the laws of physics. But if that were true, then couldn't you say that a mechanical body, inhabited by a ghost mind, is a human being? Ryle criticized Descartes on those grounds, saying such a thing surely wouldn't be human.
Why'd you bring it up?
I wasn't thinking of Ryle in particular when I said it. I simply thought that if a person is composed of a machine and a ghost, perhaps the opposite is true as well. Perhaps, by placing a ghost inside a machine, we could, in effect, give birth to a new person.
And that was your idea for the boss AI?
The moment you ripped the memory board out, the mammal pod ceased to function. It should have been dead. And yet, Peace Walker righted itself, singing a song of peace. I couldn't help but feel that her soul had come to inhabit Peace Walker.
Her ghost, if you will.
Let's say, hypothetically, there really was an intelligent machine. How would you prove it? What's the difference between a high-level computer and an AI?
It depends on what you choose to define as
Good question.
intelligence. For example, Snake, listen to my voice talking to you now. Suppose it were an AI.
Say what?
What if the living, breathing me sitting here drinking tea and talking to you were actually an AI, programmed to simulate my thoughts and my voice?
You're nuts.
No, I'm not. You couldn't prove I was a real human being, could you?
It'd be... No.
So if an AI is so advanced you can't tell it from the real thing, wouldn't you call that intelligence?
I'm not quite convinced.
But that's only one way to look at it. It's roughly how Dr. Turing explained artificial intelligence. The test I described is called the Turing test, in his honor.
Yeah, well, sounds like a bad joke to me. That singing monster of yours put me through hell. If I never meet one again, it'll be too soon.
Shame. And I was about to let an AI take my place in our conversation.
Don't even think about it.
Dr. Alan Turing is known as the father of computer science. It was he who formulated the basic theory of AI. During the war, he worked for GC and CS.
The government's cryptology school. The one that broke Enigma.
The very same. Without him, they might never have been able to decipher the Germans' code. But then, they arrested him.
Why? Weren't his some of the greatest contributions to winning the war?
Homosexuality was a crime in Britain back then, and he was gay. I know exactly how crushed he was. I feel it's my duty to further his AI research.
Like the Imitation Game, huh?
Huh. You know it then. The clue that inspired the Turing test came from a trifling little party game. You exchange written notes with another person behind a screen and try to guess their gender, whether they're a woman or a man, pretending to be a woman. It's surprisingly difficult to tell the difference. Man or woman, human or machine. What do the differences even mean? Dr. Turing was fascinated by the differences between men and women. Perhaps that's what led him to formulate his test.
What if you hadn't used the boss as the model for the AI?
What do you mean?
If the end goal is MAD, it seems like there are more suitable models out there. A military chief of staff, or a nuclear technician, even the president.
But which president?
Patriotism, leadership, good judgment. Each of those qualities is essential when deciding whether to launch a nuke. And she had them all.
Wouldn't the president, too?
It's not enough. She had the will for
Depends
it.
on which
Will.
president.
Let me explain, Snake. Peace Walker is a standalone weapon. It has to decide on its own whether or not to launch a nuke. It can't turn to anyone else for advice. It can't do its job if it's not prepared to take sole responsibility for the fate of the world. I know of no other human being who could bear that burden.
That's it.
There were technical considerations, of course. To begin with, the female brain is a more
I
appropriate
guess that's
model
assuming
for
that
an AI.
Nixon
Wait,
is
female
the
brain.
president at this time in the game.
What do you mean by that, modeling your AI after the female brain?
Snake, what is the human mind capable of that a computer is not?
Being lazy?
Interesting response. And not incorrect.
Like, I think
but
they
the
had
answer I was looking for
the
was
president
empathy.
it was either a president
The
or vice
ability to
president in
feel
Metal Gear
for
Solid
others,
2,
to be
and it
more
wasn't
precise.
like
Love for a child. Pity for
anybody
the weak.
living.
Grief for the dead.
Right.
All of these are particularly well developed in the female brain.
That's stretching it a little.
On the contrary, it's perfectly reasonable. The male brain, on the other hand, may be well suited for systematic thinking, but it's less able to empathize. In that sense, it's closer to a computer.
Dang.
So if your objective is to make the AI think more like a human,
You need to teach it how to empathize like a woman.
the novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, deals with this very problem. In the book, an empathy test is used to distinguish between machines and human beings. As machines become more and more advanced, our society will gradually become more and more systematic. Our cities will teem with robot-like people, unable to feel for others. We cannot allow that to happen. Computers must learn to empathize. The same goes for humans, only more so.
Well, what about yourself? You make these claims, and yet I've never seen you empathize with a real person.
It's true. Until now, I was a prisoner of death. It was my intention to die upon the completion of Mammal's development. She was my one reason to live.
But you changed your mind.
I did. Because she taught me the dignity of living. My eyes are open now. I want to go on living and seeing real people.
Huh. I see. Is it really necessary to make machines think like humans? I think empathy would get in the way of making the decision to retaliate.
I admit, human thought may not be fully compatible with level-headed decision-making. Then again, is there such a thing as non-human thought? The moment computers became so advanced that they could calculate faster than human beings, a new dream was born.
Dream.
If we can create a machine that can do advanced mathematics, Why can't we create one that can think like a human? The 19th century author, Auguste Villiers L'Isle-Adam, wrote a book called Tomorrow's Eve, in which the protagonist fashions an artificial woman to serve as his ideal lover. I believe the idea of creating an intelligent being with our own hands is one of mankind's oldest dreams.
So AI is a product of people's dreams, then?
Not only AI, civilization itself is the process by which mankind gives form to its dreams. But not all dreams are pleasant. Some have expressed fears about non-human intelligence.
Yeah, they want the benefits with none of the risks.
Some fear that intelligent robots might rise up and rebel against their human masters, as portrayed by the Czech writer Karel Čapek in his Rossum's Universal Robots, or in the 1970 film Colossus, the Forbin Project, where intelligent supercomputers in the US and the Soviet Union join forces and plot to subjugate humanity. Isaac Asimov offered a specific solution to these fears with his 3 laws of robotics, which demonstrated that while robot intelligence is different from that of humans, the two can coexist. In order to endow computers with intelligence, we must first have a thorough understanding of what intelligence is, and that is where the need for a practical and feasible expert system arises.
I'll have to add that to my potential watch list. Obviously, they can't reference Terminator.
So what's an expert system?
The AI housed within Peace Walker began development as such a system. An expert system is a type of proxy program by which a computer makes decisions as an expert would. The program, Mycin, for example, is a system that decides which kind of antibiotics to prescribe. The system asks the patient a series of questions to narrow down the range of appropriate drugs.
So you program Peace Walker to prescribe live nuclear warheads instead of penicillin.
What I realized, however, was that a simple expert system wasn't up to the task.
You need more than expertise to launch a nuke.
Indeed, expertise is a necessary prerequisite, but insufficient on its own. Deciding to launch a retaliatory strike requires consideration of a wider range of factors. In such a scenario, the entire global situation becomes the criterion for making a decision.
Makes sense. You screw up the prescription and the whole world goes into anaphylactic shock.
Judgment
A weak
Day.
AI that only has a limited range of knowledge upon which to base its decisions won't cut it. Therefore, I had the AI study the boss's thought patterns, thus creating a true expert system. A strong AI.
You couldn't leave the world in the hands of something with anything less than absolute worldview.
I could have built a simple expert system in no time at all. Say, how would you like a system that decides which guns you should equip according to the mission's parameters?
I'll pass. I'm not gonna leave my life up to somebody else's judgment. Especially not a machine.
It's crazy that there are AI programs like right now that are available where you can like put the writings of your loved ones. Let's say like your grandpa had like papers that he wrote or a diary or something, and then they you put in that, and the idea that the AI can replicate his writing patterns, and you can talk to him. It's scary stuff. It's not healthy either. It's like when I saw like a video about that, I feel like something like that should be illegal. Personally.
With current technology, AI are inevitably enormous in size. But as circuit integration continues to advance, they will become even smaller. As small as human brains, and perhaps smaller than that. And in the meantime, robotics will continue to advance as well, to the point where we can create androids. robots that resemble humans. And then,
And then what?
well, I don't need to spell it out for you, do I?
Don't tell me you're thinking of making an android imitation of the boss.
Surely the thought has crossed your mind as well. Of one day
But
being reunited.
it's not really
with
her.
Enough.
It's not really her.
I don't want any part of it.
I see. I didn't mean to offend you. In reality, AI is more likely to evolve in the opposite direction anyway.
The opposite direction. What does that mean?
More and more AI are becoming systems that specialize in mass information processing
It's
without
true.
human intelligence, thought, or emotion. A machine that has no individualism or sense of self, but rather behaves as a collective, exhibiting the qualities of a society.
Like the
a
Borg.
beehive.
Yes, it aggregates data collected by individuals and determines how the collective will act, just as honeybees travel between the hive and flowers. The key to achieving that will be networking AI together.
I don't know how to say this, but that kind of gives me the creeps.
But if your goal is to control society, it's the better model to use. It lets you filter data, disseminate only what you want disseminated. Of course, I myself have no interest in an AI without a shred of life to it.
Earlier, you called the mammal pod a butterfly. Not a pupa or a cocoon, but an imago.
Yes, the AI that came before the mammal pod were works in progress.
Works in progress.
They were enough to keep the frame running, but not enough to make decisions about nuclear retaliation. They weren't quite complete. They were pupae. Only when I added the boss's data did the AI take on its true form, becoming a butterfly and taking flight.
And that's why the nose art on Peace Walker was a butterfly.
I gave the
Yeah.
mammal AI the code name BS Imago. BS is short for boss.
It's also short for a bunch of bullshit.
Huey called that gigantic unmanned chopper a chrysalis. Is that another one of your AI code names?
Yes, you're referring to the TJ Chrysalis 6000. There's also the GW Pupa 5000, the TR Cocoon 7000.
I get it. A hovercraft type and a treaded type. And those letters on the front. TJ, GW, or whatever. Those are initials.
Correct. The initials of the American presidents whose faces are carved into Mount Rushmore.
Then you're missing one.
I assigned that one to the reptile pod. AL Aurelia 8000.
Aurelia. Another word for chrysalis. A pupa just before it emerges.
All of the initials, except for BS, were of Coldman's choosing. I chose mine from the storied ranks of British royalty. MS, AV, EW.
What do those stand for?
You can't guess. Why, Mary Stuart, Alexandrina Victoria, and Elizabeth Windsor.
All queens. Of course.
I'm
Are you
afraid I
familiar
can't
with
do
the
that,
film
Dave.
2001: A Space Odyssey?
Good movie.
I've heard of it, but
Of course not. I didn't expect you to be cultured enough to appreciate such things.
Oh, come on, he got
thanks.
this shit
Anyway,
from Paramedic
2001
enough.
features an AI called HAL, a highly advanced system that controls an exploration spacecraft. It can converse with people and even play chess.
Now where have I heard that before?
The way HAL was portrayed was truly superb.
How so?
HAL is given secret orders that not even the ship's captain knows about. Naturally, he's not allowed to divulge them to the crew. The stress of it causes HAL to crack,
Crack.
go crazy, though there are those who interpret it differently. One by
It's a
one,
good name.
HAL kills off the crew until the captain finally shuts it down. The film offers amazing insights into AI, their growth, their utility, their faults, and their fear of death.
Well, you must have found it useful in your research then.
Must you always be so utilitarian? It doesn't matter whether or not it's useful. What matters is that it inspired me.
Then it was useful.
Never mind. The portrayal of Hal wasn't the only wonderful thing about the film. It was full of hints about the future of human evolution. Truly, a film for the ages.
I got to see that movie in theaters. Obviously not when it was originally came out, but for like a anniversary. What anniversary? It might have been for the 60th, maybe. I think. And it was really something. Like, I mean, that's a movie. It's like if there's a Fathom event around you and it's showing, I think so. I'd say that and seeing Blade Runner is like top 5 movie experiences of my life. And you know what? The sequel, 2010, is underrated. I think it's actually quite good. It's a different kind of movie. Like, it's not as psychedelic, for lack of better words, or it's not going to make you think too deeply, but I think the acting's really good. I think the story is good. The part where they find the space station from the first movie and is really like nail biting.
Strangelove.
Roy Snyder is
Is that
in
a
that
code
movie.
name?
No, just a nickname. Don't tell me you don't recognize it. From Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. It's a film that came out in 1964. A dark comedy about the absurdity of nuclear deterrence.
You were in a movie?
No, stupid. I got my nickname because of that movie.
Why? Because you look like the doctor in the movie?
No, that Dr. Strangelove was a man.
So?
Back when I was at ARPA, I kept a photo of the boss on my desk. I was totally engrossed in my research and showed no interest in the opposite sex. Plus, I had a photo of a woman on my desk. The fools around me turned it into a cruel taunt, calling me Strangelove. Even for a bunch of shut-ins who never went out to the cinema, that title seemed to ring true with them. Anyhow, in their eyes, homosexuality was something strange. They were incapable of seeing things outside the lens of their own standards. Being strange means you have your own unique point of view. I rather consider
Dang,
it an
Kojima
honor.
being forward-thinking and representing the LBGQT plus community
So,
with compelling
you were with
characters.
ARPA before you came here, huh?
Yes, back then it was really the only place I could make a living from my AI research.
And before that,
I started out at NASA. That's where I met her.
when Boss went into space.
Yes. It was that incident that turned me away from aerospace engineering. Space is entirely too hazardous a place for human beings. That was why I felt an immediate need to develop AI. As it turned out, rockets later became much safer, and mankind reached the surface of the moon. In any event, it was a hollow Cold War victory. When you get down to it, a nuclear missile is just a rocket with a nuclear warhead strapped to it. Thus, taking the initiative in the space race was tantamount to a military show of force.
But the budgetary strain was too big for Washington or Moscow to handle.
Yes, and then there was the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Vietnam War. And then came détente. Having leapt ahead of the Soviet Union with its moon landing, America shut down the Apollo program in '72. It was around then that ARPA was downsized and renamed DARPA, the D standing for Defense. With few prospects for continuing my AI research, Coldman's invitation was a godsend. It was also a chance to have them collect data on her.
The end result being this mess.
But we did
I remember
learn something
DARPA
valuable
from
her.
the DARPA chief from
The
Metal Gear
nobility
Solid.
of peace.
Nice lore drop.
Why'd you agree to come here? To Mother Base?
You intrigued me.
Me? Hold on. You're not planning on modeling your next AI after me.
Not a bad idea, but I have no intention of ever again attempting to transplant human thought into machines.
Oh, that's a relief.
You are the man who inherited the boss's will. You're gathering people around you, even now, shaping them, building a new organization. I'd like to see how it turns out.
You're not planning to go back to AI research?
I never said such a thing. Of course my work will continue.
Here.
In my eyes, the growth of MSF as an organization is analogous to the development of the nervous system. The way you become intertwined, stimulate each other, branch out in new directions. It's really quite inspirational.
Interesting way to put it.
Of course, I intend to repay you for your hospitality. The fruits of my research will be at your disposal. Why not assign me to the R&D team? I promise you won't be disappointed.
It's funny she's got something to say about Cecile.
You know, that ID card I got from Huey wouldn't let me into the lab.
Of course not. I deactivated it.
Why?
As though I'd let him into my lab.
Oh, you don't seem to care for him much, even though you two are in the same field.
Oh, please. For starters, I can't stand that wishy-washy attitude of his. If he's got something to say to me, he should be a man and come say it in person.
True.
Not write some furtive letter.
Very
But if
true.
his card doesn't work, how's he supposed to...
And another thing, the way he always demeans himself. Every other sentence begins with, I could be wrong, but... Why can't he just do what he does and be confident about it?
Well, there was the thing about his dissertation being plagiarized.
The real problem is
She
he
is
doesn't
a
have
very
a whit
mean
of
lady,
independence in him.
but to
In
be
Costa
fair,
Rica, and even back at NASA, he was always
the love of her
following
life
people
is
around,
dead.
asking if there was some way he could help.
And she
Why
got
doesn't
bullied
he
for
stop his
being
whining,
a
take a
lesbian.
stand, and face up to me?
I think I know how he feels.
And to top it all off, he seems to enjoy referring to himself by that nickname I gave him. I simply don't get it. How can he be so submissive?
So, Huey was a nickname you gave him.
That's right. I took it from the name of a drone in the science fiction film Silent Running.
Drone.
It's a type of worker robot. The way he follows people, just waiting for them to boss him around, is so similar. I couldn't help myself. Oh, it's an American film directed by Douglas Trumbull, the man who did the special effects for 2001: A
Oh,
Space
cool.
Odyssey.
Imagine that. A scientist who likes science fiction.
And that's not all.
There's more.
He's a man.
Hang on. I seem to remember you saying he should be more of a man.
Yes. Well, he is an awfully good scientist. Without his reptile pod, my mammal pod wouldn't function, just as the cerebrum can't exist without the cerebellum and the brainstem. He did a fine job of designing it. I'll give him that.
That sounded suspiciously like praise.
It's merely an objective observation. I like people who possess the will to move forward. I have no time for those who refuse to take control of their lives. Until he does, my opinion remains the same.
So you're saying there's a chance?
So, you and Cecile seem to be enjoying yourselves back at that lab.
What are you insinuating? I
Oh,
only
yeah, that's
kept her
right.
Because I didn't want our secret to be known.
And the personal baths. You could have left her in there alone and locked the door from the outside.
Yes, that... well, she seemed anxious, so I...
Now, why would she be anxious?
She was beautiful. I was only admiring her beauty.
She was terrified,
I never meant her any harm. She knew that. I know she did.
but she felt like she was in enough danger to run away.
No matter what I did, if Coltman found her, she would have been... You're right. The truth is, I wanted to save her. But not if it meant forestalling the completion of Mammal.
So you made it easy for her to escape.
Do you really think I am that soft? I'll admit security wasn't exactly tight. It wouldn't have been difficult for her to escape from the building.
Seemed like she had a rougher time after she got out.
At any rate, I never did anything to her to deserve any blame. Is that clear?
Okay. I believe you.
We think doth protest too much.
How's the Zeke AI different from Peace Walkers?
Zeke's AI isn't a replica of the human thought process. It isn't programmed to make decisions about nuclear retaliation. On the other hand, it is capable of highly independent action in combat when given orders from a pilot. It can protect infantry, destroy the enemy, and If ordered,
Launch a nuke.
let us hope it never comes to that.
My sentiments exactly.
Waiting for the trophy to pop. Is there not a trophy tied to listening to all the tapes? Did I get everything? Yeah, there's none there. Nope. 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 Oh, there's more from Miller. Okay.
You know that today, Japan is
Well, I
under
know
the
there's.
American nuclear
I know it's all
umbrella.
optional,
Right.
but
The U.S.
is
vowed
there a
to
PlayStation
retaliate
trophy
against any
for it?
country that launches a nuclear strike against an allied country. That promise deters nuclear attacks against America's allies, hence the term nuclear umbrella. But suppose the Russians nuke Tokyo. Would America really nuke Moscow in return? If they did, the Soviet Union would undoubtedly retaliate. Would Washington really be willing to risk having a bomb
Well,
dropped on itself in order to
I
avenge
d- I-
Japan?
when
I'm
I
not so
first
sure.
started this
Don't
game,
tell me you're still worried about Japan.
I did put a
After all these years.
It's not
um,
that. I just...
a poll
To be honest, I'm not
on
convinced
YouTube
either.
and on
But
the
Moscow
Discord
faces
group
the same dilemma.
asking
maybe
if I should
Washington
listen to all the
wouldn't retaliate
tapes,
on Japan's
and my
behalf.
audience
Then again, maybe it
wanted me
would.
to listen
So
to all
you're
the
saying
tapes.
Moscow wouldn't want to risk
So-
being attacked either?
The whole concept of nuclear deterrence is entirely
That's the
hypothetical to
primary
begin
reason
with.
why I'm doing this. I was just
You get down to
hoping
it, it's
that
all
there would
smoke and
be
mirrors.
a trophy for listening to all of them.
Japan shall not possess, manufacture, or allow the introduction of nuclear weapons into Japan. Those are the three non-nuclear principles set forth by the Japanese government.
Allow the introduction.
I did not.
That's funny.
How do you read
Some
that?
of the U.S. warships that visit Japanese
didn't know you
ports
could
are armed
read
with
it.
nukes. Or are you going to tell me they transfer them at sea onto other ships every time they visit?
You raise a good point, Snake. But the Japanese government doesn't recognize it as such. The introduction of nuclear weapons into Japanese
You know, now that I
territory
think of it,
would need to be
if
agreed
it was
upon
Solid
in
Snake
advance.
and
America hasn't
Otacon
made
gave him
any
a
such
secret letter,
agreements.
I don't think he'd read
Therefore,
it.
they
But
aren't
Big
bringing
Boss,
nukes into Japan.
I think Big Boss.
That's the official excuse.
Doesn't sound like much of an excuse to me.
I don't blame you. Keep in mind, though, Japan
okay.
suffered actual nuclear attacks. Anti-nuke sentiment there runs
I'll
deeper
check
than you
that out
think.
once I
I suppose the government's not really in
finish
a
the last
position
of
to
these.
admit that sort of thing.
So tell me, Kaz, how's the self-defense force you were in different from an army?
The JSDF is set up for national defense. It's not configured for aggression against other countries. It's what you'd call exclusive defense.
Exclusive defense?
It's the fundamental strategic posture of the JSDF. No preemptive attacks. Only the minimum defensive action necessary after an enemy attacks.
Anything defined as self-defense, then?
The JSDF originated as the National Police Reserve. Back then, American forces stationed in Japan were being sent over to fight in the Korean War. So in a sense, the NPR was filling a gap.
Police, huh? Reminds me of the Costa Rican Civil Guard.
Yeah, exactly. They're also dispatched to provide disaster relief. The year before I joined, they had a hell of a time trying to rescue some buses that got hit by
Sorry, I'm
landslides.
catching up. I'm here and there. I'm catching early things that become important in games that take place
So
after
why'd you
this.
quit the JSDF?
Because I didn't have a reason to be in Japan anymore.
A reason?
My mom had died 3 years earlier, so I didn't have to care for her anymore. With her gone, there was no point hanging around in Japan.
Yeah, but a man with your talents could have risen pretty high in the ranks, I imagine.
I don't know what they made of me. Could be it actually alienated me from the brass. And personally, I can never get used to the idea of exclusive defense.
Meaning?
On a strategic level, I can see how a country could go with the exclusive defense model used by the JSDF, and I've got nothing against my fellow soldiers who believe in it. On a tactical level, though, it just rubbed me the wrong way. To put it simply, I was itching for a real fight.
I figured.
And I felt as long as I was in the JSDF, I'd never be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with my father, who was in the U.S. Army. Seeing Yukio Mishima's suicide didn't help either.
Yukio Mishima. The guy who wrote The Temple of the Golden Pavilion.
The way he questioned the status quo hit home with me. Not that I admired his vision or anything. But it did get me thinking, that's for sure. March 10th, 1945. 381,300 cluster bombs were dropped on Tokyo. Japanese houses at the time were almost all made of wood.
Uh-oh.
In that single day, a third of Tokyo burned to the ground. My mom lost her family and home in that raid. She had to move to Yokosuka and live with her cousin. The B-29s kept on coming, razing other major cities throughout Japan without mercy. Then, in August, they dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and Japan surrendered to the United States at last. After that, Yokosuka was flooded with American soldiers come to occupy the country. My mother was still in her mid-teens, and she learned from her cousin how to survive in that town, by servicing the troops. That's how she met my father, and how I was born. My father was an officer serving with the government section of Allied GHQ under General Whitney. Whitney was known as MacArthur's shadow, and my father rode his coattails to a pretty high rank. While he was in Japan, he treated my mom like a wife. After he went back to the States, though, she never heard from him. I wasn't born until after he went back. My mom raised me as a single mother. She used the money my father left her to open a shop selling cigarettes and stuff to occupation troops. It was a decent living, but I didn't have citizenship. They're working to change the law now, but back then if your father was unknown, you couldn't get onto the Japanese family register. And in Japan, that means you can't be Japanese. So as I watched the American soldiers around town, I said to myself, I'm a son of America, the victor. My hair and eyes were different from the skinny, downtrodden Japanese around me. I told myself I'd leave this country someday and return to my true homeland. When I was around 10 years old, my mom fell ill, pretty much leaving me to run the shop in her place. One day I found a single picture of my father in the back of a drawer in the shop. I'd show it to the American soldiers who came into the store. A few years went by before one of them told me who he was. I know him, that's Miller. I started asking other guys, do you know where Miller is now? Can anybody tell me where Colonel Miller is now? Turns out he'd left the service and was making a living as an instructor for soldiers in Virginia. It was one of his students who finally told me that. I wrote him a letter in English. I'm your son. I want to go to the United States. Day after day I waited. Then just when I was about to give up, the post office delivered my future to the door. My father sent me some money. I thought my dream was going to come true. I was only thinking of myself. So I went to my bedridden mother and convinced her to let me go. My father arranged for a car to pick me up. It was jet black. When the neighborhood kids who'd always made fun of my hair saw it, their jaws practically hit the ground. I put my mom in a hospital and went on my own to America. When I met my father for the first time, he was living alone in a big house. He told me he'd lost his son, his American son, in Vietnam. He showed me a picture of my older brother. I guess that and his divorce left my father feeling lonely, which is probably why he finally took an interest in me. He'd retired from teaching. He was stooped over, could hardly walk, but he gave me two things: the name Miller and money for school. I used it to learn English and then go to college. America was exhausted from years of fighting in Vietnam. They were waging war in a foreign land, while at home, people were screaming for peace. Right after I graduated, I went back to Japan, alone. My father refused to see my mom. It was the first time I'd seen her in years, and she wouldn't even look at me. At first, I thought she was mad at me, but that wasn't it. Disease had taken her mind. A disease she got while she was young and desperate. She didn't even know who I was. I said, Mom, it's me, Kazuhira. As I spoke, the sound of my own voice rang in my ears. Katsuhira, the name my mom gave me. It means peace in Japanese. I was Japanese. At least, I was the son of this tiny Japanese woman. It was then, for the first time, that I understood the reason, the emotion that inspired my mother to give me that name. She'd watched her hometown and family go up in flames. Her body and her mind were ravaged by war. And yet she chose to have a child named Peace, with a man who was once her enemy. Japan lost the war. But what good is war as a measure of a country? Since the war and up until the oil shock last year, Japan's economy has grown every single year. It's on its way to becoming a stronger country than ever. I stayed in Japan and joined the JSDF. I was 22 at the time. I did it to pay our bills. But it wasn't just that. I could have found work anywhere. And I knew it. And still, I couldn't think of anything else to do with myself. 2 years later, I didn't have to worry about Mom's hospital bills anymore. I left the JSDF and went back to the States. My father was already dead and buried. I was told he'd shot himself in the head.
Damn.
America crushed Japan, but it also crushed my father. My American dream was over. After that, I drifted around and, well, you know the rest. GHQ made women like my mother. It made Japan's peace constitution and the JSDF. And it made me. I was spawned by war, but I don't want to die in one. I won't die for a country, and I won't live like a pauper. I won't have my fate decided by some family register. So as long as I stick with you, boss, I've got a good feeling none of that will happen.
Oh, my phone's about to die. So he's usually so like easygoing. It's interesting to see him open up. I guess, you know, a lot of comedians are very depressed, so people that often make jokes are usually in a lot of pain.
Life's funny sometimes, isn't it?
What brought that on?
We first met as enemies on the battlefield, and now here we are fighting side by side.
You mean Colombia?
Yeah. After I quit the JSDF, I made my way there and got myself a position as a drill sergeant for a band of revolutionaries, despite the fact that I'd never seen a day of combat.
I see you had the gift for talking business in Spanish even back then.
Oh, come on, stop it. You're making me blush. Unlucky for me, though, you were in the service of the Colombian army. I remember it like it was yesterday. It all happened in an instant. You guys ambushed us, and half my unit was taken out. My mind went totally blank. I couldn't keep it together. My whole unit was wiped out, and I was left half dead from a bomb blast.
Then, as I was leaving, you yelled out at me. I came all the way from Japan to be here. My place is on the battlefield. Then you asked for my help, saying, I want to be the one to end it. I remember being surprised that there were still samurai in Japan.
You guys came over to me. I had a grenade hidden under me, but even then you were too fast. The second I pulled the pin, you grabbed the hand I was using to hold the grenade
Yeah,
with
exactly.
both palms.
I didn't want it to go off. I'd heard samurai were a proud bunch. I wanted to know why one of them would stoop so low as to try to take his opponent with him.
And I said, I'll never lose again. We'll never lose again.
Yeah. We'll do whatever it takes, but we'll never be beaten again.
Then, I passed out from the blood loss. When I woke up, I was in your camp's infirmary, stuck full of tubes. Why'd you save me? Your enemy after I tried to kill you.
Because you swallowed your pride and fought with everything you had.
I just didn't want to lose.
You found a way to fight back, even in the face of death, even when you knew you were going to die. That's the mark of a true warrior. It's not about gain and loss, or victory and defeat. I looked at the way you lived your life and saw the path I needed to take as a warrior.
Wow, I never knew that. And that's why you...
I realized then that the battlefield doesn't only divide people into allies and enemies. Sometimes it tells you more than just who's an ally or who's an enemy. Sometimes it helps reveal your true comrades.
Like you and me, huh?
That's right. And 2 years later, here we are.
Don't carry any more gear than you need. If you try and stuff your entire arsenal into your backpack, it'll be too heavy and your mobility will be impaired. You'll only be hurting yourself.
I know. Take only what you need. Every rookie knows that.
You can check the weight of your gear before heading out. So make sure you do.
Got it.
Huh. I don't think I did that once.
Even a born warrior like you gets hand tremors, Snake. It happens even when you're full of stamina, and it only gets worse when you're tired, especially with larger, heavier weapons. Obviously, you'll get better aim
In my
crouching
defense, that's
than you
never
will
been a
standing.
thing.
And when you use a scope, setting your sights on a single point will gradually give you a
previous
more
games.
precise aim. As we develop better weapons at Mother Base, though, you may gain access to new, low-tremor versions of the same guns. So if you expect the shakes to be a problem, you might want to put some resources into R&D.
I'll keep it in mind. Then again, the more you use a weapon, the more your hands get used to it. Sometimes it pays to be faithful to your gun.
Guess
Choosing the right uniform is crucial. Pick one that
next time I
matches the
play, I'll
mission
have to
objective
try
and your
going
own
into
combat
areas
style.
with less stuff. Oh shit, that was quick.
Jungle fatigues are made for jungle combat. They provide decent protection and let you carry a fair number of weapons.
Do they say
Your
they got
standard
like
uniform,
concrete in their
basically.
shoes or something?
The distinguishing factor is that your camo index will vary a lot, depending on the area. Wear a pattern that makes you blend in with your surroundings, and your camo index goes up. Wear something that clashes, and you'll stick out like a sore thumb.
Pick the right pattern for the occasion.
They got
Zeke
big
used to lecture
inventory.
me on it all the time.
The sneaking suit is a specialized uniform for stealth missions. It provides excellent camo in any stage. Even better, you won't make a sound when you walk.
Heck yeah.
Ooh, so I won't need to tiptoe all the time.
And to top it off, it also makes your wounds heal faster. The fabric exerts just the right amount of pressure on your body to help stop bleeding.
Huh. Not a bad little trick.
The battle dress uniform is the opposite of the sneaking suit, in that it's specialized for combat. It lets you carry plenty of weapons and ammo, and provides excellent protection.
Yeah, that's the one that's
Not
good
the
for
best choice
buying
for sneaking,
the
but if you
Metal
feel
Gear
like playing one-man
stuff.
army, this is the uniform of choice.
Looks pretty damn heavy.
It is. You won't be able to move as fast with it on, meaning it's not good for running away either. Keep that in mind. Naked. That's exactly what you are with this uniform. The pants are the same as the jungle fatigues. Obviously, since you're exposing your bare skin, your defense and camo index are gonna be low. On the plus side, it's so light you can move around quicker.
Good for her. Showing off muscles, too.
Hey, Snake, I heard they gave you your old code name because you used to run around with your shirt off. Is that true?
Don't believe everything you hear. They called me naked because I went in without gear or food. I had to procure everything on site.
You mean they sent you into the jungle without even a pair of pants? On a halo jump from 35,000 feet? Sweet Jesus, you are a legend.
You're busting my balls, aren't you, Kaz?
Little bit, yeah.
Hilarious.
This is the first Halo jump.
Cooperative operations, or co-ops for short,
Oh, I wonder
is
what
the
this
term
is.
for taking on missions in teams of 2 or more. The basic co-ops unit is a 2-man cell,
Even a single teammate is great to have in enemy territory.
True.
and there are actually quite a few things you can't do by yourself. You can help each other climb walls, divide up mission roles. On the other hand, if one of you is spotted, the other one's screwed too, and it's kind of tough for 2 people to hide in one small space.
Good point. But what's more important than anything is how close you are to your comrades.
Well said. Working as a 2-man cell can make the mission easier or harder, depending on how well you work together. It's also good to note that if you've got a clear, specific objective, it can be to your advantage to use an even bigger team. That said, teams of 3 or more run a much greater risk of being spotted.
Yeah. In a sneaking mission, the fewer people you have, the easier it is to get around.
In co-ops, you can trade weapons and equipment with your teammates. You can also display your teammates' inventories from your weapon or equipment menu. Ammo is shared too, of course.
Ammo, sure. How about life? That also shared?
Yep. You all sink or swim together. Your teammate dies, you die. You need to be within a certain distance of each other to swap items.
Yeah, I know. I've been in this business so long I can virtually see that distance. Looks kind of like a ring in my head.
That's why you're the boss. Okay, we'll call it the co-op ring. And entering the ring will be called going co-op in.
That's why that robot voice said it.
Another thing. During a mission you can assume what we'll call the snake formation. Same as your code name, but probably not standard operating procedure for a guy who specializes in going solo.
Damn right. There's only room for one snake.
In co-ops though, it's a highly effective formation. The signal for snake formation is to tap your teammate on the shoulder.
Can't form up until you're close enough to reach out and touch someone.
Entering snake formation is called going snake in. When you're snake in, the soldier at the front of the line controls movement. The soldiers in back focus on scouting and attack. Just because your heart stops doesn't mean you're dead immediately.
Right. The heart just circulates blood through the body, but stopping it does cut oxygen supply to the brain. You'll be dead soon after.
Which is why we have CPR. Let's say your heart does stop. If someone performs CPR before your brain cells die, you can recover.
Yep.
In co-ops, when the life gauge drops to 0, it means you're in a near-death state. You won't be able to move or anything else. Performing CPR on near-death teammates can bring them back into action. Of course, performing CPR in the middle of battle isn't exactly safe.
True.
You're leaving yourself exposed. Even so, in co-ops, you and your teammates are all in the same boat. Don't think you can get away with leaving one of them behind.
I wouldn't think of it. And I'd expect them to do the same for me.
If you let all your teammates die during a mission, there'll be nobody left to save you.
And then, it's game over.
Building trust with your teammates is essential to success in co-ops.
That goes without saying. I'm not gonna let somebody I can't trust cover my ass.
The measure of that trust is called camaraderie. Think of it as an indicator of how strong your bond is with your co-op's teammates. The friendlier you act toward them, the greater your camaraderie.
Give me an example.
Your camaraderie will be higher if you're co-op in than standing apart. Saving a teammate's life with CPR also strengthens your bonds with them. Things like hitting a teammate with friendly fire will cause your camaraderie to go down.
Makes sense.
That's like reminds me
Camaraderie
of that
carries
time
over
I
from
shot off
mission
a
to
rocket
mission. The next
and
time you go co-op
the
with
guy
the same
got in
guy,
front of me at the
you'll
last
start off
second.
strong. But be careful. If you keep taking new people with you on missions, your camaraderie with past teammates eventually reverts
wasn't
back
my
to
fault.
its original level.
Got it. I'll have to make sure to renew old friendships once
He
in a
ran
while.
right in front
The
of me.
performance benefits gained from Snake Sync in co-ops depend on your camaraderie. It's always best to keep things cool with
At least
your
that
teammates.
sort of thing really, I think that was the only time that happened. I don't
Stand
know if
still when you're snake in, and you and your teammates will start to get in sync.
In sync.
That's right. Stay still together and you'll enter snake sync mode. The synergy will give you a boost in performance. You'll move faster, recover faster, and have better camouflage.
In other words, we're at our best when we're in the same groove.
You got it. If you've got a big task ahead, can't hurt to take some time to get in sync. Like I said before, the benefits you get from Snake Sync depend on your camaraderie.
I hear ya. It's a lot easier knowing you've got someone you know and trust covering your back. Lets you focus that much more on what you have to do.
If camaraderie represents how much your teammates trust you, then heroism shows how high your reputation is.
Heroism.
That's right, heroism. Your reputation affects your ability to recruit new members to MSF. With higher heroism, it won't take as long to convince guys to join our cause and send them back by Fulton recovery.
So, how do I get this heroism thing to go up?
Lots of ways. Complete tough missions, avoid unnecessary bloodshed, and don't get caught by the enemy like a deer in headlights, or you'll never be heroic. Also, getting out there and attacking the enemy in co-ops will boost your reputation among your teammates. Of course, it'll get the enemy gunning right for you, too. But don't sweat it. Be yourself. Be the boss. From where I'm standing, you're plenty heroic already.
Hell yeah.
Back it off.
Seems the R&D team's been busy working on co-ops only weapons.
Co-ops only.
Like a gun with extreme firepower, but only when 2 people fire it at once. I hear it's still in the concept stage.
I know some rocket launchers need 2 people to operate, but a co-op's only weapon.
Hey, if they come up with something good, you'll have that much more reason to go co-ops. Why don't you check in and see how they're doing every once in a while? In co-ops, maintaining close communications with your teammates is crucial.
Absolutely. Losing track of each other on the battlefield is a good way for a unit to get itself wiped out.
Enemy positions, orders, distress calls. When communications break down, you get picked off one by one. Now about co-ops comms.
Co-ops comms.
It's a radio system for communicating with co-ops teammates. First, press the start button to open the menu. Then select co-ops comms. After that, press one button to choose a category, then another button to select the actual message. So basically, you use different combinations of 2 buttons to send different messages.
Easy enough.
You can set which messages go with which buttons during mission prep.
Sounds like it's gonna be a pain to send messages until I get used to it.
Then why don't you assign co-ops comms to the select button? That should make things a little quicker and easier. Just go to select button under options.
I'll give it a try.
First I thought that said Kojima effect.
Snake, you familiar with the Japanese word kotodama?
Kotodama.
Unfortunately, there's no direct equivalent in English. But to keep it simple, let's call it a sort of battle cry.
Battle cry, huh?
Right. But kotodama is actually a deep Japanese concept. Koto means word, and dama means spirit.
Is it
It
like
signifies
when
that
somebody
words
has
have power
unagi?
that affect our reality.
Are you feeling okay?
I guess I made it sound kind of like mumbo jumbo, huh? Seriously though, haven't you ever felt energized when a teammate cheered you on? Or the other way around? Ever had your legs cut out from under you by a thoughtless remark?
Yeah, I know the feeling. Words can have a powerful mental effect on people.
Same goes for co-ops comms. Offering praise to somebody could make them run faster than usual, or make somebody who thinks they're done for get up and fight again. See what I'm saying?
I get the picture. So it works in reverse, too.
The powers of words are many and varied. Try using them for yourself.
Cardboard
Snake,
box.
about cardboard boxes. It feels kind of weird me explaining this stuff to you, but there have been a few recent developments in cardboard box technology.
Has there now?
So just to be safe, here goes.
Go on.
You can do much more with a box than just hide under it. You can put it someplace and leave it there.
Huh?
You can get on top of it and use it to reach high places, or hide from the enemy in its shadow.
I like what I'm hearing so far.
And that's not all. You can even put items in it and send them to co-ops teammates.
Really? I never thought of any of that.
Yeah, who would
Damn.
put stuff in a
Is there
cardboard box and
anything a
ship it?
cardboard box can't do? Every soldier should have one.
It's like
Yeah,
the
well, don't get too
towel
excited.
in
This isn't
Hitchhiker's
exactly
Guide to the
what they were
Galaxy.
made for.
Which reminds me, don't you think the boxes around here are a little on the big side?
You're right. I bet 2 people could fit under one box, if they packed in tight enough. They call them love boxes.
Love boxes?
Of course, you don't need a love box to fit 2 people inside. Any box of similar size will do. Up to 2 people can fit inside a cardboard box.
Tell me how.
Move close to a box with a teammate inside, and an icon will appear. Then press the action button. You'll stay inside as long as the action button is pressed.
So, same as snake formation, huh?
Exactly the same. In fact, when you put on a cardboard box when snake in, both of you can climb inside.
A box big enough to hold me and my buddy. These are fine times we live in, hey, Kaz?
Yeah, sure, boss. Snake, the R&D team came up with something new.
What's this?
It's a cardboard tank. It's got enough room for 2 people. Same as any other cardboard box. Apparently the guy in front drives, and the guy in back is the gunner.
Hold on, Kaz. Who the hell came up with this thing?
I'm sorry, boss. He meant well, I swear. I know it's nowhere as good as a real tank, but still.
It's brilliant.
Huh?
The perfect synthesis of stealth and attack power. Compact, elegant design. The finest example of a weapon I've ever seen. Seriously, Kaz, I need to meet the guy who made this. I want to shake his hand.
You might kiss him, bro.
Serious?
Watch out.
Snake, look at it.
It's a masterpiece in every sense of the word. You don't agree?
No,
What is that? A tank? I like it.
Boss?
I hate tanks, but this one I think I could get used to. I love that it's a zero-emissions vehicle.
Zero
It will
emissions
not hurt the
vehicle,
forests
nice.
of Costa Rica.
What?
Nice work, Kaz. I see I made the right choice making you second in command.
But is there something wrong with me? Snake, about that cassette player Galvez was carrying.
What about it?
That was no Russian imitation. It was the real deal. A prototype developed by a Japanese company.
Get out of here.
It's true. It had the Sony logo on it. The product name is Walkman.
Walkman.
It's a revolutionary new concept. Music you can listen to on
Sony.
the go. You can take it with you when
Sounds
you leave
like
the
a
house.
real
I gave it a listen. And
dumb
you wouldn't believe
company.
how good the sound quality is for
Like maybe
something
they'll
so
do something
tiny.
really stupid
And
in
in stereo, too.
2026 and
Think of the technology
Make
that must
everybody
have gone
mad.
into it. And that tape is equally amazing. The treble range is clearly superior to any other cassette ever made. Stylish, too.
How'd Galvez get his hands on a model that's not even out yet?
Beats me. It's not the kind of thing I'd expect some stodgy Soviet to be into.
Me neither. Tell you what, though, it's a fine piece of work. It'll let me listen to my music when I want, where I want.
I never thought I'd hear you say that, but I have to agree. Me? I'm a recording freak, and I always used to laugh at the idea of a portable player. But now that I've seen it in action, I've changed my mind. Being able to take your music with you.
wherever
This could be
you
the
go.
start of a revolution in music.
Hell yeah.
Could be.
I'm having the guys at Mother Base study and analyze it. Who knows? They might be able to come up with something even better.
Okay, got a couple of these left.
Amanda and her crew tell me they've managed to identify several different categories of mercenaries employed by the CIA.
Give me a rundown. Sounds like info I could use.
No problem. I'll go through them in order.
Oh, that was quick.
The type of enemy you'll be seeing most is the type that patrols and guards a specific operational area. For the sake of convenience, Amanda's crew calls the outdoor ones patrolmen, and the indoor ones guards. They might look like they're just out for a stroll, but don't be fooled. They're sharper than they look.
You sure about
All of
that?
their senses are finely honed. Normally, they'll patrol along fixed routes, but when the alert level is raised, they'll assume a more efficient alert posture and focus on defending
I don't think
specific
they're as
points.
smart as the
That's bad for you.
guys from
Obviously, they can
Metal
hold their
Gear
own in
Solid 2
combat.
and 3.
And with body armor, it'll be even harder to take them
Um,
down. If
but-
they're wearing a bulletproof helmet, you can forget about one-shot kills. Just a heads up.
you know, to
You'll
be
need
fair,
to be smart about
PSP
using
game.
camo and pick your routes. The most important thing is to avoid detection. There are areas out there where enemy soldiers are deployed in multiple layers for extra coverage. More than a few of those will be attacking you from a distance, rooftops and far-off vantage points. Try not to get too distracted by nearby enemies, because you could be leaving yourself wide open to longer range attacks.
True.
I'll be careful.
We know there are variations in the kinds of gear patrolmen and commandos wear, especially the body armor. Our scouts report that an enemy's defense and firing accuracy are directly proportional to how heavy their gear is.
Those must be the guys with the highest combat skills. They can fight in heavier gear without their performance suffering.
Supposedly, it's pretty easy to tell the difference in gear just by looking. So remember, use extra caution when dealing with enemies wearing heavy gear.
Or what if they're wearing some Metal Gear?
Enemies will try to fight you from different distances, based on the weapon they've got equipped. When you meet an enemy, get a good look at what they're carrying. It can make or break your chances in battle. Enemies carrying handguns and shotguns will try and get in close. That makes them dangerous, but at the same time, easier to hit. Keep your wits about you, and you can turn a threat into an opportunity.
Well, I'm an equal opportunity ass kicker, so that's...
Enemies carrying assault
Thought I was gonna
rifles and
sneeze.
machine guns will usually fire at you from farther away. Use whatever cover you can find, then return fire with a few well-placed shots of your own. Don't expect enemies carrying sniper rifles or rocket launchers to get up close and personal.
Until they
They'll be
do. I
constantly
mean,
moving
some of the
from place
rocket
to
launcher
place,
guys
looking for
were
an
like
opening to
within
snipe at
arm's
you.
reach of me and would
Tricky
shoot me.
bastards. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Go with the sniper rifle. Make sure you stay out of their line of sight, and when they expose themselves, take them down.
Is that all of them? I'm gonna double check. Holy crap, I think I might have done it.
I'm about to leave for Costa Rica, a place completely unfamiliar to me,
So
and on a
close.
top secret mission for the CIA, no less. No guarantees I'll come back alive. Might even get rubbed out by the CIA itself. So I'm leaving behind this record. For her sake. For the boss's honor. Ever since I was a child, I've loved to look up at the night sky. I'd go outside after sunset and drink in the cold air. The moon, Venus, so many stars floating on the edge of infinity. In Manchester, it wasn't very often you saw the night sky in all its star-studded glory, but it was enough to stir a deep longing inside me. Even as others cowered beneath Nazi air raids, I was out there, watching the skies, dreaming of one day reaching the heavens. There were, of course, more practical concerns. My skin was incredibly sensitive. Even the slightest bit of sun would turn it an angry shade of red.
I feel you
Playing
there,
outside
sister.
during the day was completely out of the question.
I feel you there.
Naturally, I hardly ever had the chance to play with other children my age. But I never felt lonely for it. Their way of thinking was irrational, making them simple, easy to predict. The boys would talk of tanks and aeroplanes and creepy, crawly bugs. The girls of pretty dresses, glass beads, and tea and cakes. Of boys they liked. I never had much to say on such matters. The curious thing is, adults really aren't all that different. They're simple, capricious, especially men. As they get older, their heads fill with thoughts of women, and more women. Thankfully, I always did have a head for mathematics. When I was about 10, I visited Dr. Turing, who lived nearby. We'd sit and discuss mathematical logic. The lights were always on at his house, even in the dead of night. Theoretically, he'd say, there's no algorithm that a computing machine couldn't reproduce. Dr. Turing wasn't foolish like other men. Although I didn't find out why until later, after he died. The time will come, he'd say, when computers will be able to think for themselves. That idea rocked me to my core.
Bet it did.
My aptitude for mathematics brought me closer to the stars. I breezed through school,
then went to America for university. While I was studying at Caltech, NASA was established. I signed up in a heartbeat. I was a pretty good computer engineer at the time, and NASA needed skills like mine. The work was enjoyable. Even though I'd given up on going into space myself, it was a pleasure just being a part of it all. I was assigned to Project Mercury, America's effort to compete with the Soviets in manned spaceflight. 7 men were chosen as pilot candidates for the program, becoming heroes overnight. People called them the Mercury 7. The project made good progress, more or less. We had all the funds and materials we needed. After countless hours of analysis, we even had plans for something on par with Sputnik. We thought it'd only be a matter of time before we caught up with the Russians. They'd sent a dog into orbit and brought it back safely to Earth. But NASA top brass dismissed that success as a fluke. The Americans recovered their re-entry capsules at sea, but the only ocean bordering the Soviet Union is the Arctic, so their re-entry capsules had to make impact on land. A dog was one thing, but human spaceflight would still take some time. Or so we thought. At the end of January 1961, we successfully put a chimpanzee named Ham into orbit. He returned to Earth as healthy as ever. NASA was giddy with success. It was then that a new woman showed up for duty. She was a backup pilot and advisor. She was beautiful, with blonde hair, strong mouth, and a steely gaze.
Who that was?
But there was something else in those eyes, a twinkle of something warmer. Affection. It was the boss. She took one look at us in our revelry and murmured, "Savor this joy today, because tomorrow you'll have to face the truth." And she was right. The next day, our project schedule was accelerated. We'd received new information that the Soviets were mere months away from putting a man into space. The brass had misjudged the Russians. We couldn't afford to allow the shock of another Sputnik. Somehow, we had to get a man into space before the Russians did. It was an utterly impossible task. We'd only just put our first chimp up. With a human on board, failure was not an option. Especially if it were one of the Mercury 7 Golden Boys. And on top of that, the brass wanted to put a window in the spacecraft. The pilot wouldn't be a test animal this time, they said. And when this hero came back alive and well, they wanted him to describe what he'd seen. It was madness. Adding a window to our existing spacecraft would leave it unable to handle the stress. Not to mention the problem of shielding the occupant from cosmic rays. But the boss rose to the task, and splendidly. She claimed to be a layman when it came to space, but caught on keenly to new ideas and concepts. She was demanding of herself and of others. She seemed rather cold-hearted at times, but I was smitten. She was beautiful, yes, but more than that, she was wise. Her mind was thoroughly rational. And yet, no matter how I tried, I could never predict her actions. It was easy for me to assume that her judgments were drawn from an enormous base of knowledge. Quite simply, her life experiences were more diverse, more intense than anyone else's. To me, they seemed boundless in their breadth. In her, I saw a reflection of the night sky. Perhaps because I too was a woman, she and I became close. I couldn't go out in the sun, but she lit up my life. Her light was soft, like that of the moon. I was so happy. With her unerring guidance, the project steadily regained its footing. But one issue remained, the pilot's safety. When the day came to choose a pilot, the Mercury 7 just quietly walked out. Who could blame them? It was far too great a risk to take. Even if they'd volunteered, NASA would never have let them go. They were national heroes, basking in the media spotlight. There was no way they'd be sent on such a mission. The conference room was silent. Then, slowly, she raised her hand, almost as if acting out a scene from a movie.
Enter simulation date.
August 24th.
Location.
Selinoyarsk, USSR.
Mission.
Support a covert agent whose objective is the rescue of a nuclear weapons scientist.
Who is the agent?
Your student. Your most beloved.
Acknowledged. Define current mission progress.
With your help, the agent has successfully made contact with the target. All that's left is to wait for recovery. Now, deduce the best course of action.
I take the scientist away from the agent.
What for?
As a gift when I defect.
Why are you defecting?
To reform my special forces unit with my former comrades in arms.
No, I don't want to know your objective. I'm asking for the reason. Why are you betraying your country?
I do not defect in order to betray America. Betrayal is merely the outcome of that defection.
Response time is always slower here. Perhaps she lacks confidence in her judgment. You're a hero in the West. Why should the Soviets trust you?
In addition to the scientist, I provide them with a portable nuclear warhead in order to win the favor of a Russian GRU officer.
And then you launched it.
GRU
Launched.
operatives?
The nuke? Me?
That's right. At a target inside Soviet territory.
Nuclear weapons make my blood run cold. They blot out the future. How could I? Karma. Is it my karma? The karma my mistake has brought upon us? My...
Attention. Discontinue forward reasoning. Cross-check with knowledge base.
Affirmative. Cross-check complete. Revising conclusion as follows. I steal the new weapons developed by the scientist, and then launch the nuke at the Weapons Design Bureau.
Forward and backward reasoning are in conflict. Attention. Return to forward reasoning.
Affirmative.
Your apprentice returns for the scientist.
I send him away.
He doesn't give up.
I send my comrades to defeat him.
All of them fail. Even the GRU officer who oversaw your defection is defeated by your apprentice, along with a new weapon. Now, what is your course of action?
I fight him.
Why? With your GRU patron dead, there's no reason for you to fight. Why not just run away?
I must fight him.
I do not see the reason. With a soldier of your caliber on his side, how could the GRU officer be defeated to begin with? Did you betray him too?
I've been waiting for a long time.
You could switch allegiance from GRU to KGB and take the remaining nuke as a gift. There's no chance they wouldn't welcome a hero of your stature.
Drift away. My place is with them now.
I didn't ask you that. Give me the basis for your reasoning. Tell me the truth.
Politics determine who you face on the battlefield.
Why won't you answer me? It's like you were just waiting for him to kill you.
I was disloyal. Betrayed my country. I deserve to die.
How can you say that? You can't be a traitor. You're not that kind of person.
Kill me. Kill me now.
Stop it! Stop it! Attention! Discontinue reasoning.
One must die, and one must live.
Stop it, damn you! Discontinue!
Life's end. Isn't it beautiful?
Shut down! Always in the same place. Her reasoning goes haywire. Someone holds the key. Perhaps it's him. I'll get it out of him. One way or another.
I mean, I guess she kind of did.
I spoke out against her going, submitting a report stating the ray shielding was inadequate. But the Brass's response was brusque. She's already been exposed to a nuclear test in Nevada. She's the perfect candidate. It was completely irrational. Repeated exposure to radiation would only increase the danger. But the government was still reeling from the Soviet successful Sputnik. There was no hope of getting a rational response. They were simply too panicked. People can be so obtuse when it comes to things they can't see. I, however, understood all too well. Just as invisible ultraviolet radiation scorched my skin, heavy particle radiation from space would cause irreparable harm to human tissue. In a word, she was expendable.
You're not expendable,
It
Wambo.
was during the boss's pre-flight checkup that I noticed something strange on the X-ray of her skull. Part of the right hemisphere of her brain was damaged.
What?
It seemed inexplicable, given her keen intelligence and amazing physical prowess, but there it was, and I decided to report it. I hoped that perhaps my discovery of a physical defect would result in the flight being cancelled. But as I went to make my report, she stopped me. Why? I demanded. How can you let yourself be their guinea pig? Ignoring my protests, she took me up to the roof of the lab. The night sky was ablaze with stars. It was there that I learned how she had wounded her head. 1943, Los Alamos. She was serving with the Special Forces.
Just
when she
saying,
received
if they ever make
orders.
Metal Gear Solid
A German
6,
spy had infiltrated the Manhattan Project, which aimed to
fleshing
build
out the
the world's
boss's
first
story
atomic
and getting
bomb.
to actually play
She was
through
to
this
eliminate
stuff
him. His name was
would be
John
something
von
else.
Neumann, a
But I don't know if they
mathematician
would
with
tackle that
superhuman
story without
computational
Kojima
abilities
being
and the
involved.
designer of the explosive lens. The Manhattan Project was a top national priority.
So I don't know if the
Security
fandom
accordingly
would
tight.
be okay
The
with that or
guards
not.
Wouldn't be allowed to know what was going on. She'd have to slip past them and make the death look like an accident. It should have been an easy enough mission. But just before the operation, she received unexpected news. A new life was growing inside her. She was overcome with joy, and for one brief moment, it clouded her judgment. She accidentally got into a shootout with the guards, and without thinking, protected her belly. She was shot in the head. The bullet only grazed the surface of her brain, but the tissue around the wound was destroyed, leaving her in a coma. She wasn't given much chance of recovery, but 3 months later, she woke up. Within 6, she was able to move around as if nothing had happened. It was functional compensation. The other parts of her brain took over for the part that was lost. It made logical sense, but such a full recovery was nothing short of a miracle. Perhaps her superhuman willpower made it possible. Or perhaps my body knew it had to survive for the sake of my unborn child. She smiled as she said that. I understand how she must have felt. Some have taken to calling me Ms. Left Lobe, she said, because I'll do anything for the mission. She was tough, yes, but she had feelings too. I knew that better than anyone else. As it turned out, von Neumann wasn't the spy. The assassination order was a deliberate bit of misinformation planted by the Russians. She had been deceived. The Eastern and Western camps were united on one point: opposition to the Nazis. The Allies needed to develop that bomb before Hitler did. But in looking ahead, the Russians found the Manhattan Project's progress a little too quick for their liking. Mass production of a uranium bomb, like the one that was eventually dropped on Hiroshima, would be difficult from a material perspective. But a plutonium bomb, once perfected, could be mass-produced, and eventually even miniaturized. And Moscow did not like the idea of America having that kind of head start. Explosive lens technology was critical to the plutonium design, so the plan was to get rid of its pioneer, von Neumann. And when that plot came to light, the US and the Soviet Union parted ways for good. It was one of the rare cold nights in Florida. She put her arm gently around my shivering shoulders. As I listened to her voice, I was wrapped in her soothing scent.
Damn.
I felt as if I were dreaming. Even in failure, she seemed perfect. Oddly enough, the failed assassination attempt helped preserve America's edge. A true super genius, von Neumann went on to make his mark in numerous fields outside of the Manhattan Project. Economic game theory, stored program computing. Almost all computers today use stored programs, the so-called von Neumann architecture. His death would have set back computing 10 years, and I wouldn't be at NASA doing research. I wouldn't have been there in her arms that night. I thanked the fates for giving me that chance. But then she said something unexpected. I should have killed von Neumann when I had the chance. Why, I asked. Wasn't the order a Soviet plot? I looked up at her as she began to explain. Yes, von Neumann was innocent, and killing the innocent is a grave crime. But I can't help but wonder, had I succeeded, what would the world be like now? Even without von Neumann, the explosive lens would have eventually been developed. Von Neumann architecture, too. But she seemed to believe that if progress had been put off for a few years, then perhaps East and West would have had a chance to work hand in hand. I'd never considered such a possibility, but her tone was confident, assertive. It was as if she intended to make the two superpowers shake hands herself. The explosive lens was developed too early, spawning a Cold War and an endless nuclear arms race, she continued. That mission sprung from deceit, but maybe it was divine providence too. It was like she was speaking to her own child. Her large, warm hand was on my head. I failed the mission because I let the mother in me take over. I should have killed him, no matter how great the guilt. If I'd killed him, I might not have prevented Hiroshima, but maybe I could have saved everyone in Nagasaki. I looked up at her and saw her looking up too, up at the starry sky. Her face showed only deep remorse. It was as if she'd convinced herself that she alone was responsible for creating this twisted world. But that's no reason for you to sacrifice yourself for this. I knew I'd never dissuade her, and yet I still clung to hope. I know you're concerned, and I thank you, but I have to be loyal to the end. And then she smiled at me. Loyal to the end. Loyal to what? I asked. But she didn't answer. The days that followed were spent training tirelessly for our first space flight. The boss endured conditioning that tested the limits of human capability, and I supported her. Those were happy days. On April 12th, the spacecraft carrying the boss left the Earth.
Later, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Although it was only 20 minutes of ballistic
So I think
flight,
this is the
it was
very
nothing
last
short
one.
of miraculous, considering how little time we'd had. The first human in space.
Dang.
We were ecstatic. Then something went
So I was
wrong.
actually thinking about going to
The
Sheets
re-entry
after all
was
this is
slightly
done
off,
and
warping
pick
the
up
outer
some
hull. The
gas,
cost was
good old
clear.
gas station
It was the
food.
hastily constructed window we'd installed. Her capsule missed the projected splashdown point by a long shot. As we raced towards the capsule, a breaking news broadcast came over the radio. It was the news report of the successful launch of the Vostok rocket, piloted by the cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin. They
So I'll be
blew
looking
us
at
into space by the
Huey's
slimmest
letter
margins.
after I finish this one.
When we arrived, the capsule had already disappeared beneath the waves. The boss was floating on the surface. I can't really
Have a good night,
recall
man.
what happened next. They told me later
Should be
that I
back
gave a strange scream and
Friday
plunged
night.
into the sea, not caring whether my skin would burn. She didn't wake up.
Peace.
Her entire body was bruised, burnt, scorched by cosmic rays. It was a miracle she was still alive. Every day, propaganda boasting of the shining accomplishment flowed out of the Soviet Union. The hardest part was having to read the report the next morning from Izvestia. The Soviet governmental paper. Written there after the report were those legendary words of Major Gagarin. The Earth is blue. The person who should have said those words, though, was incapacitated, confined to a bed. NASA opted to pretend the flight had never happened. The Soviets had orbited a man around the Earth and returned him safely. We'd barely managed to escape the atmosphere and achieve ballistic flight. Even worse, the pilot was horribly mangled and the spacecraft lost altogether. As they saw it, covering it up was the only alternative to seeing the nation's pride dealt yet another blow. I've been told military records show the boss was taking part in the Bay of Pigs incident at the time. They were that desperate to erase the whole affair. In the end, Alan Shepard's ballistic flight 1 month later became known as America's first spaceflight. Shepard's flight owed its success to insights earned through the boss's sacrifice. But to me, none of that mattered. I prayed day and night for her recovery, never leaving her side, not even for a moment. Then, as summer ended and the chill of winter approached, she spoke. "Give me water." I threw myself on her breast, and she embraced me. It was all I needed. I thought she would tell me about space, the true sky, where the stars don't twinkle. But the only thing she'd speak of was Earth, our home as she'd seen it from space. So fleeting, so irreplaceable.
True.
I was ashamed. I'd been enamored for so long with the sky that I never thought to look beneath my feet, at the ground upon which I stood. As soon as her rehab was over, she was gone. It happened without warning. No one informed me, and the higher-ups wouldn't say a word.
Damn, she didn't say goodbye.
It wasn't so strange.
No wonder she's so
or
grumpy.
surprising, really. I simply assumed she was off to complete her next mission, because she was loyal to the end. Since then, I've devoted myself to researching artificial intelligence, so that no one will ever have to make her sacrifice again. No human being should be asked to take on a mission that dangerous. Next time, I'll be the light that shines on someone else. I still wonder why she opened up to me on that chilly night in Florida. That operation was top secret, even if it was all in the past. I like to think it was because she trusted me. But that's probably not the case. She wanted someone to listen. And I don't think that someone was me. Those faraway eyes, the tone of her voice, like she was talking to her own child. Those things made it clear that she was speaking to someone else. I found myself envying that someone. 4 years later, I learned of her death. A traitor's death, no less. She'd stolen an American nuke and defected to the Soviet Union, where she was killed by her former apprentice. Or so I was told. I refused to believe it. She'd never do such a thing. I could think of only 2 possibilities. Either she really was trying to bring East and West together, or she truly did want to be killed. She believed the world is not the way it's supposed to be, that it's been unbalanced by the tenuous peace offered of nuclear deterrence, and that she was to blame. Perhaps her death was an act of atonement. She was loyal to the end, to our world. And I lost the light of my life. I now find myself victim to an incredibly irrational emotion of my own. That someone, the one she wanted to confess her sin to, could it be the one who took her life? The very thought drives me utterly mad with jealousy. One day, I will discover the truth.
Yay, we did it. Woo! I got a trophy! There was a trophy after all. I was hoping there would be a trophy for... I feel like there should be a trophy for listening to everybody's stuff. That's just me. Hopefully they'll fix that with the... God, I couldn't imagine listening to all these again. Database? Hopefully they'll fix that with the... Hey, long time no see, huh? Sorry for raining you out of the blue like this. I've been trying to get in touch, but you know, you haven't been answering. Was it something I said maybe? If so, I apologize. It's just there's something I want to tell you, so I decided to put it in a letter. I mean, obviously this is the best time and all, but I was, you know, kind of curious about your research and stuff. Speaking of which, how's the pod coming along? Just wondering whether that program worked out. If it's not, I could always go over and fix it, if that's okay, of course. My own peace of mind, really, you know, make sure that the program feels alright. Or I guess I really wouldn't say that the program has feelings, would you? Haha. Sorry, I'm getting off track here. So anyway, I've been meaning to... Crap. Those were fun times, you know, living the dream, getting to work all the time with the scientists we love. Ever since, I always held your research that is highest esteem. More than that, sorry, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. So when you disappeared from NASA all of a sudden, I was devastated. That's when it finally dawned on me. I need you for my research, you see. I mean, no, well, yes and no. It's hard to explain. Anyway, when I saw you again in Costa Rica, I could hardly believe it. I thought maybe it was divine intervention or something, you know? Like it was written somewhere that we were meant to be like this. You and me, the two of us from now on, you know, just you and me. Well, there's research, of course, but research can have so many different meanings, can't it? I'm rambling again, sorry, but we don't have much time left. When Peace Walker's finished, that's it, right? That's the end of the project. So what I'm trying to say is, Peace Walker's kind of like something we created together. You know, when it's finished, then we'll... I know we're not done yet. You need to finish it first, right? Yeah, until we do, I just hope you won't disappear on me like you did last time. Sorry for taking up your time. Wish you the best of luck with your research. Your dear friend, Huey. Hey, log. Oh. Oh. I did it. It's been a long road. But, other than, I guess maybe coming back to do something fun with the other people playing Peace Walker, I'm done with it. My final save time. Procrastinating. That's future save. $37 hours, 58 minutes, and 22 seconds. Signing off.